Here's your Audrey Hale update. She was the Nashville shooter who killed 6 people, including 3 children, 3 Christian children, at the Covenant School in Nashville. Now, here's an update. She's been burning in hell for 87 days, and the Tranifesto is still being hidden. That's an update for you, an Audrey Hale update. And whoa! Did you see this? The Wall Street Journal is now reporting that the U.S. Navy detected the Titan implosion on Sunday, but Joe Biden withheld the news until today's whistleblower testimony on Hunter Biden. The entire thing was a distraction operation, folks. This entire thing with the Titan implosion, they knew about it on Sunday. The U.S. Navy detected an implosion on Sunday, which means they would have been dead on Sunday. This whole thing was a distraction operation, and it's distracting from the fact that we now know Hunter Biden, in some text messages, says that Joe Biden, his daddy, was in the room when he demanded cash from a Chinese oligarch. I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made has not been fulfilled, the message read. These are texts. This is proof. These people are corrupt. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. It's a Friday, and I have a packed show for us. We're going to get to all kinds of news this morning. But first, while we're talking about the Bidens, Joe Biden did a pledge of allegiance to the wrong national anthem. He puts his hand over his heart and then takes him these 12 awkward seconds to take his hand and slowly move it down when he realizes it's the wrong national anthem. So he pledges his allegiance to the wrong national anthem. And it was just so awkward and weird. So we're going to get to that here coming up on the Morning Buzz next. Peeing on Yum Yum. Peeing on Yum Yum. Yes. A congressman, he roasts Eric Swalwell, Eric Swalwell, for allegedly sleeping with a Chinese spy. And the words peeing on Yum Yum are officially written into congressional record. Gosh, this is crazy. Later, California, this is a sad story. Special needs student was called a bigot by a teacher in California. I think it's Glendale High School is the high school. She didn't want to learn how lesbians have sex because it's against her religion. And the teacher called her a bigot. What? You opt out of the sex education, the explicit sex education, and then the teacher calls you a bigot because you don't want to learn about it? All right, all of this and more ahead on the Morning Buzz. I am live in studio. You can check it out there on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. We're everywhere. And you can throw into the comments. I've got a question for you today. My question is, what do you think? Is is Joe Biden going to be impeached? Yes, no, maybe so. Why won't he be impeached? Throw it into the comments or text me at 309-451-9299. Let's get into it. Here we have the story about Joe Biden pledging allegiance to the wrong national anthem. It took him an entire 12 seconds to realize it was the wrong national anthem. Now, I know America is in a constant state of lowering their standards we require of the president. Okay. We're in a constant state of, well, and it could happen to anyone. But if nothing else, recognizing the American national anthem should be at the top of the list. Okay. I mean, our standards for the president should be, hey, he's got to know the national anthem. That brings us to this latest example here of Joe Biden being a derp in public, as usual. And while saying the whole world is watching is a lame cliche, I get that. But literally the whole world was watching because Joe Biden was with the Indian prime minister. And I know at least a decent chunk of the world was watching here. So the whole world was watching. And when he was alongside the Indian Prime Minister, Joe Biden slowly lowers his hand down while the Indian national anthem is playing. And he realizes it's not the American national anthem. It was a very awkward thing that he did on tape. He slowly lowers his hand from his heart after realizing it's the Indian national anthem. Now, this reminds me of a famous clip. I'm going to play it here for you of Joe Biden back in 2008. This is Joe Biden, and it just reminded me of this infamous clip of Joe Biden. Here we go.
Support for this, and that's where more to come, I think. So, no, I've had a great relationship. In Delaware, the largest growth in population is Indian Americans moving from India. You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent. To fully, I'm not joking. Oh, gigantic.
I know the audio is a little off there. What he says there is that you can't go to America and go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts and not have a slight Indian accent. Big yikes. And that little number, I just love dragging that one out. That's from 2008. And some of you may be finding yourself saying, come on, Kat. It was a simple mistake. Anyone could have made it. Well, if you're saying that, it makes me wonder why you're listening to the Morning Buzz. But hey, I'm glad you're here. Welcome. Fine. I'll be charitable and I'll say, best case scenario, it was somebody on Joe Biden's staff who did him a dirty and neglected to tell him that the Indian national anthem was going to be played first. And, uh, you know, we will allow this investigation to happen to determine what staffer misinformed him or didn't inform him in the first place. And if that staffer just so happens to be a Gavin Newsom plant, right? Because Gavin Newsom is going to be running for president, so be it. But how many simple mistakes? People are saying, come on, Kat, it's a simple mistake. How many simple mistakes are we going to allow? How many simple mistakes does it take for people to admit that Joe Biden's brain is more pudding than actual brain matter? Okay, he's got literal pudding in his brain. I'm telling you right now, he doesn't have brain matter. Uh, the nerves, the whatever is in the brain. I'm not a scientist, but a few days ago, this is just one more example of a simple mistake. A few days ago, the president had no idea what year it was. He had no idea what year it was. And he needed to be led by the hand like a child who didn't want to play in the sandbox with the other kids because they would make fun of him. Right? So they led him out of the off of the podium, right? Away from the podium. I forget where he was, but he didn't know what year it was. He had to be led by the hand out of there because the media would just make him crumble. Again, I say senior, you say abuse, senior, abuse, senior, abuse. This is what this is, senior abuse. Why do we keep putting them out there? Joe Biden has two questions that he asks his staffers on a regular basis. Here it is. Where am I? He has no idea where he's at. And he has another question. And will somebody please change me? Or will somebody please wake me up when I'm falling asleep on the world stage? The guy can't even stay awake. If Joey was a mentally well person, if he didn't have dementia, the awkward 10 seconds of, wait, this doesn't sound like the American this doesn't sound like the American national anthem. It doesn't sound like the Star Spangled Banner. It would be a one-off thing. But this guy has continued to go out there and be derpy. It's not a one-off thing. All right. Do want to shift gears. I have a story here, and it kind of made me chuckle, and it made me realize how screwed up America really is. The words peeing on yum yum, peeing on yum yum, those words have now been entered into congressional record thanks to a story about a Russian pee tape, a Texas congressman, and Democrat Eric Swalwell. and Democrat Eric Swalwell allegedly sleeping with this Chinese spy. All thanks to all of those things, these words have now been entered into correction or congressional record. Peeing on yum yum. I never thought I'd see it. So this past Wednesday, we had special counsel John Durham testify about his report that pretty much exonerates uh, Donald Trump from this Russia collusion hoax. He talked in these hearings, his testimony about how there was institutional biases at the FBI that led to the Russia collusion hoax. He talks about how corrupt the FBI is. Now, one of the stories that had come out about Donald Trump was that, and the feds claimed that he was compromised by Russia. That was one thing that they claimed in this Russia collusion hoax. Hillary Clinton paid operatives to pretend like they were, and they spied on Donald Trump's campaign. It was an entire Hillary Clinton campaign operation. And spoiler, he was not compromised by the Russians, and he didn't try to steal the 2016 election like Hillary Clinton had claimed. But there was another story about Donald Trump that they put out there, and it was where he urinated on a Russian hooker, and that there was a tape out there of Donald Trump peeing on this Russian hooker. Not true, completely fabricated, right? And we know that now from the John Durham report that this was all fabricated. Texas Representative Troy Nehls is his name, and he brought up this outrageous aspect of the Russia hoax, where Donald Trump pees on a Russian hooker, right? He brought this up, and I love what he does here. He actually brings a poster board uh, with all of the headlines that read things like alleged pee tape incident wasn't the only Trump sex party. These are all mainstream news headlines that were running during Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, and they didn't print they didn't print retractions. They didn't print anything apologizing in 2020. So people, typically suburban white women, right, read this and they believed this for years, and they believed this going into the 2020 election. Numbers aside, vote totals aside, they stole that election from Donald Trump using these headlines. Another headline on this poster board that Troy Nehls has behind him in this congressional hearing says, "It's possible Trump was with hookers peeing on each other." Okay. And Trump's pee tape alibi is falling apart. So here it is on the congressional floor. Well, I think I'm going to play it when I come back. I've got Troy Nehls here, and he talks about this completely fabricated story where Trump was with hookers peeing on each other. And I mean, this is a must watch because he shreds Eric Swalwell on this alleged affair with Yum Yum. That's what he calls Fang Fang. And we all know, right, about the alleged affair between Eric Swalwell and a Chinese spy. And he talks about it here. I'm going to play this clip for you on the other side. We've got so much to get to this Friday. Good morning, 309 451 9299. Good morning. All right, so I am in a hot Twitter fight with a drag queen who's going to be coming here to Normal, and I want to share it with you on the live stream. Go to our Twitter page and be sure to like, share, love, comment, retweet. I don't care. Either way, interact with our content so you can see more of it. So here I have a story about the drag queen coming to the town of Normal. Now, this drag queen goes by the name Rita, and Rita performs with a lot of her friends in and around Chicago, some Chicago performances. It's clear that this Rita claims to have be Bloomington Normal native, like born and raised here. But on the social media, right, on Instagram, Rita is caught saying that he's from Chicago. So he's from Chicago. This is what he says in a video. He goes, "I'm from Chicago." And there's a video out there, and I'm just going to play it for you. I'm actually going to just pull this up on our Twitter feed, where this drag queen, with several other drag queens in the past, has been doing performances, but this drag queen, Rita, performs, mimics a satanic ritual where they kill a bunny, slaughter, maim a bunny. Um, and this is deeply disturbing. I'm going to play this here for you. Let's share the screen. You're going to see this drag queen along with another drag queen killing a white bunny, and this has significance. Experts say that a white bunny um, is a symbol of purity, fertility, right? A lot of you might not know this, but Easter is a play on word with the pagan holiday Easter, right? It's a play on word with the pagan deity Ishtar. Ishtar is like said to be some sort of white bunny, which represents purity, fertility, and this pagan deity demands um, all kinds of sacrifices of, rabbits to him. So this is a white rabbit, and this video stops after some while. Didn't include the part where they pick the stuffed rabbit out of this trash looking can on the floor there, where they stab it continuously. They pick out the white rabbit and they start sucking the fake blood out of the fake rabbit. This is a drag queen performance. Um, Deeply disturbing. Now, I have a Twitter thread. I tagged Rita Taro, who is going to be in Normal tonight at the Normal Theater performing. Hopefully not this, right? He claims to be performing Ariana Grande's "Break Free." So this is over a year ago. Love. This is the comment right from the post here. I said, killing white rabbits is a known satanic ritual. This is a sacrifice. There was actually a small Italian city where city officials called the slaughtering of 9 white rabbits. They had their hind legs removed and they were placed in a nylon bag in a cemetery. And the city officials in this small Italian city said, hey, this is actually a satanic ritual. And they deemed it a satanic ritual. The killing of a white rabbit is based in is based in a satanic ritual. That's just the facts. Now, this is a Chicago drag performer, Rita Taro, who claims to be from Bloomington Normal, but also at the same time claims to be from Chicago in several social media posts. So I'm not sure if we know who Rita Taro is. I don't know what his real name is. Rita will be performing here at the Town of Normal's Music Festival at the Normal Theater tonight. So Rita replies. I tag Rita in it because there's no lie here. This is what's going on. Killing a white rabbit. It's a known satanic ritual over a year ago. I wasn't claiming that it happened yesterday, right? In the article, if you guys read the article itself says that Rita had posted this a few weeks ago. Um, or a few months ago. The article says that this was posted 16 weeks ago on this drag queen performer's very public Instagram page. And then I didn't go into what the show was all about and if it was at a 21 plus venue. I just am concerned because of content like this that he puts out there. Is this going to be happening at the Normal Theater? We wouldn't know, right? This is a drag performance that he partook in. And he goes, I'm also not from Chicago. I was born and raised in Blono and perform host there very often. Do a little bit of research before you take another shot at journalism. Well, I, of course, had to update the story because the drag queen took down this video after our publication posted a news article detailing who this guy is. And my bottom line, why take it down if you aren't embarrassed by it? Okay. And, there are plenty of other things that he got wrong there. He did post this a few months ago. It wasn't a year ago. He posted it a few months ago. Now, I don't know if it was done over a year ago. That wasn't really part of the story, and it didn't have to be, right? Um, we're going to be back, and I'm going to finish my story about Eric Swalwell being attacked by this Texas representative for his alleged affair with a Chinese spy. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. Happy Friday to you. I'm going to finish up my story here about Eric Swalwell. Eric Swalwell. He was really just obliterated by Representative Troy Nels. He shreds him over this alleged affair with Yum Yum. I call her Fang Fang. It's Christine Fang, who is the Chinese spy that he had an alleged affair with. But this is what the exchange sounded like. Troy Nels, is in front of Congress talking about the Russia hoax, the Russia collusion hoax, how it's all fake. They brought up the Trump P tape and how ridiculous it is, this aspect of the Russia hoax that said that Donald Trump, the feds claimed Donald Trump was compromised by Russia and that he urinated on a Russian hooker, and there was a tape of it. There's no tape of it. Hillary Clinton cooked that up with paid operatives, sick people, I'm telling you. And here is Troy Nels debunking not only the P tape, but also shredding Mr. Swalwell about his alleged affair with a Chinese spy. Here we go.
Alleged P-tape incident was the only sex Trump party in Russia. You want to irritate the suburban mom at home? 5 months before an election, tell them the Republican leading candidate is peeing on prostitutes. We are aware of the member of this committee having an alleged affair with a Chinese spy, I refer to as Yum Yum, but this is a new low for anyone, and I would hope Mr. Swalwell would agree with me. Imagine if somebody would have said and taken it a step further, Mr. Swalwell was peeing on Yum Yum.
Time of the gentleman.
It's unacceptable. This has got to stop. The FBI needs to.
Time of the gentleman has
I
expired.
yield back.
The gentleman.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that the last comments be stricken. With respect to Mr. Swalwell.
My point is this: if you're going to say the president of the United States was in Russia peeing on prostitutes or vice versa, I'm just saying, could you imagine how that would affect any member of this committee? It would affect you. You're going to pick up a primary opponent, I'll guarantee that.
That's a little different than making a specific allegation about a specific individual on this particular committee.
Oh, folks, that was awesome. That was all in reference to Eric Swalwell, and his alleged affair with the Chinese spy. She has the name Christine Fang, aka Fang Fang. I call her Fang Fang. Now, Swalwell has completely denied any kind of inappropriate relationship with Fang Fang. He was still removed, though, from the House Intelligence Committee by Kevin McCarthy, the Speaker, since sleeping with a Chinese spy is, I don't know, the textbook definition of compromised. You can't serve on an intelligence committee if you have any kind of, even a whiff of sleeping with the enemy, the Chinese spy. This is literally the definition, textbook definition of being compromised. And the peeing on Yum Yum shirts, I can't believe that was entered into congressional record. I think it was. I don't think they striked it from the record, but it's all thanks to this story about the Russian P tape, Donald Trump, right? The Texas congressman, Democrat Eric Swalwell, allegedly sleeping with this Chinese spy. Now it's entered into congressional record. The peeing on Yum Yum shirts, they haven't been put on sale yet by the RNC or Representative Nels' reelection campaign. But I mean, I could see t-shirts that say peeing on Num Num. That's pretty funny. All right, I do have to take a break. We're going to come back here on the Morning Buzz. I have a very special guest, an interview, and those of you listening in Colfax, you guys are going to want to stick around because it's a special guest from Colfax. So go ahead, text in if you're listening from Colfax, 309-451-9299. If you're not listening from Colfax, I'd still like to know where you're listening from. Are you listening from Leroy, Lexington? Are you listening from Fairbury? Give me a text on our text line and watch me live in studio. I've got exclusive content there about how I got into a fight on Twitter with the drag queen who is coming to the town of Normal. Stay tuned. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much for listening. Here we go. Ryan McKinsey. Normal is such a nice family-oriented town. No, it is not, right? Oh man, did you win the big drag fight on Twitter, Kat? Yes, I think I did. So let me just go ahead and share the exchange here with this drag queen. I just stuck to the facts, folks. Okay. I said that, he posted. I have no idea what his real name is. They like to operate in some sort of anonymous state, leftists, because they don't truly believe who they are, and they truly can't stick by their beliefs. And that's clear because here in this Twitter thread, I made it known that, hey, since we, Cities 92.9, provided details about Rita and Friends performers who are expected here in Normal, details about prior performances, one would say, hey, if you're going to bring somebody here to the town of Normal to, and this is all on taxpayer money. I don't know how much money. That's still something I have to find out. But this is still all on taxpayer dime. So it's hosted by the town of Normal. I tagged the town of Normal. I tagged Rita and I said, look, this is a known satanic ritual. You guys can see the video right here. They stuff a stuffed white bunny into a basket. They have a knife. Rita there hands the knife to this other drag queen. This is part of their performance. And they mutilate a bunny. They're lip syncing right now. You can't hear it. To There's No Rest for the Wicked. I don't know if that's, I don't know. And this drag queen starts stabbing the bunny. And what you can't see in this video that I posted on Twitter is later they take the guts of the bunny, which Rita pulls out there. If you continue to watch, and they take the guts, the bloody bunny that they stuffed into the basket, and they start pretending to suck the blood of a white rabbit. People, experts, city officials in Italy, this is a known satanic ritual. It's a cult ritual, sucking the blood, sacrificing the blood of a white rabbit. A white rabbit is symbolic, in many cultures, as a symbol of purity, fertility, right? And I just simply posted the facts here, right? I stuck to the facts. He's going to be performing at the Normal Theater, and he accuses me of having things wrong, which I didn't have anything wrong. He said over a year ago, which I'm sure the performance was over a year ago. I just didn't include that. It's a tweet, right? And he posted it about 16 weeks ago. So that's 3 months, about 3 months ago, where he posts it. And you guys can read the article on cities929.com. I didn't get anything wrong. He says that this was for a spooky themed show in a 21 plus venue. Well, posting it 3 weeks ago implies that that was recent. If it wasn't recent, I understand. I get it. And I can't go back and screenshot, and I should have. I did originally, but I screen recorded the video itself, but I cropped out the date and I can't go back and see the date and the caption. But he took it down since we exposed what he was doing in this performance. And he's expected to be at the Normal Theater at 10 o'clock. And the town of Normal has promoted this as a family friendly music festival. So this is the screenshot of what was not made available anymore. The drag queen. And look, if you think that this is all fun and games, right? And his acolytes have been going after us on Twitter. I just want to point out that when people make fun of you downstate simple folk, it's because of stuff like this. So he's got media acolytes out, or he's got these Twitter trolls after us, and he says that he's from Bloomington Normal, which I'm not too sure about that. He could be born and raised here. There is a video clip in which I screen recorded and posted, um, and shared with our friend Rita. I said, "Look, this is you. Um, this is you. My name is Rita Taro, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois." This is what he says. He goes, "I'm from Chicago, Illinois." Uh, what else are you supposed to believe if you are constantly saying, and in your bio, you say you're from Chicago, Illinois? So I don't understand how you could get all upset that I said that you were from Chicago, Illinois when you say you're from Chicago. Like, it's your words against your words here, man. Uh, so I just simply laid out the truth, the facts for this fellow, and he was big mad. And clearly, he was upset that I published his very public satanic ritual and the fact that he was mimicking it. Good morning, folks. This is the Morning Buzz. Thanks so much for tuning in. We have so much to get to. Today, I do want to talk about this California, and she's a special needs student, folks. This is a sad story. She's a California girl, young girl, and she's a student who allegedly has special needs. And she was called a bigot by her teacher for not wanting to learn about how lesbians have sex. Yes. This happened at a Glendale high school. We are going to be getting into that story in just a little while. But first, I sat down with Michael Rigsby. Michael Rigsby is working on restoring Colfax. I was in Colfax a couple of weeks ago, and, these small towns are dying, and they are the heart of America. So we get at a lot of these issues happening in Colfax, Michael and I. Let's take a listen. Here we go. Cities 92.9, the news and talk of Bloomington Normal. My name's Kat Peterson. Thanks so much for joining me, and with me in studio, you know him, you love him, Michael Rigsby.
Known and loved. I love that. I love that.
And love. You better get to love him because he is fixing up Colfax, and I'm so excited because I was literally just there. I was talking with Lauren out there from Aster and Indigo. They're great. They're listeners of ours, and I was talking to the hairdresser. I was talking to the people at the bank right there, and I was just kind of asking people, "Hey, are they working on revitalizing Colfax?" We had this conversation with the business owners not that long ago. I went out there. Our transmitter is out in Colfax. So a lot of lovely listeners who live in that area. And we were talking about a pool, and that's where I want to start because I remember growing up in a river town. It's called Wilmington, Illinois, folks. And we would all go swim in the river. Yes. But here's a pool in Colfax. So, Michael, tell me a little bit about you and what you're doing in Colfax.
Yeah, so I'm born, and thank you, by the way, for having me in, Kat. I appreciate it. Thank you for visiting Colfax and patronizing Colfax. Lauren Wyatt, who you were talking about, the owner of Aster and Indigo, who we love to death. She's been amazing. So I am born and raised in Colfax. I live in Bloomington now, but my heart will always be in my small hometown of 1,000 people in Colfax. And I'm actually my great-grandfather to the fifth degree, or grandfather to the fifth degree, William G. Anderson, is the founder of Colfax, actually. So it's in my lineage, right? My great-great-great to the fifth grandfather, William Anderson, was actually the founder of Colfax. So it is in my blood, sweat, and bones and DNA to care about this small town. And in 2017, so many small towns, particularly in McLean County, that are not on Route 66, that are not right on an interstate, they struggle. And you mentioned Wilmington, right? The Main Street, the business districts, they're hard, they struggle. And I looked around Main Street and I thought, I can help. We can do more. I can do better. We can do better. So we started the Colfax Restoration Project in 2017, about 6 years ago. And it is the entire initiative and motive behind it is to help revitalize the town of Colfax, from getting more businesses on Main Street to beautification projects to making locals proud of where they come from, where they live, and making people want to move into this town as well. Because, especially the pandemic, people were leaving cities and moving to small towns, and we've seen a lot of that. You can't find a house in Colfax for sale right now. So we have spent so much time the last 6 years on Main Street in particular, right? Main Street, if you put Colfax, Illinois into a GPS, where is it going to take you? Dead center of Main Street, just like any small town. So the pavilion we've built, the muraling we've done, the cleanup projects we've done, we've really spent the last 5 or 6 years dedicating so much time. We raised over $200,000 that we have raised and spent to help revitalize Main Street. And we're going to keep going. I tell my wife, I'm 41 years old now. I plan on being 81, standing on a beautiful, new, glistening Main Street 40 years from now. Hopefully it doesn't take that long. But we've put in a lot of work and a lot of effort the last 5 or 6 years.
So do you think that these businesses are leaving the state? Do you think that they're leaving the United States? Do you think it's a much larger issue than just Colfax? Clearly, you said that there's a trend, and I noticed it in my hometown, right, of Wilmington. There's a trend of people not wanting to do business in these smaller communities.
Yeah, it's sort of an amalgam of many things, right? Number one, it's obviously Colfax was its own self-sustained community forever and ever. When my parents met there, homecoming king and queen met there back in the 1970s, right? It went to high school there. Back then, nobody drove to Bloomington, right? It's just not what you did. Colfax had 2 pharmacies and a grocery store, and it had all these things. Well, as people started to work more in Bloomington and there were more jobs in Bloomington, they would go there, they would do their grocery shopping there, they would go their entertainment things in Bloomington. So less businesses were needed in Colfax. That's number one. Number two, obviously we're in an era of everything. The amount of Amazon boxes my wife has at our house on a daily basis, I know that it's so easy for people to order things. So that's kind of a second part of it.
It's got to be a woman thing.
Listen, I order a lot on Amazon too. I don't want to discount that.
I'm telling you right now, there's an Amazon box at my door all of the time. I try not to. I really try not to, because I know that what that does, it takes away from the
bad for the environment too, right? Boxes everywhere. That's a whole other story. But so that's another part of it. And number 3 is just small towns, particularly that are not like right on the interstate or don't have a major tourist attraction. Or like Fairbury is such a great small town, but Fairbury has Route 24 running right through it. Colfax is landlocked, right? You have to want to go there to go there. So you couple all those things together, and suddenly a town that had 7 or 8 businesses has 2 or 3 businesses, and it's a town that had 300 jobs has 86 jobs. And all of a sudden now it erodes over the course of 2 or 3 decades. And it takes somebody, I'm certainly not taking sole credit. I've had immense help, but it takes somebody like me to go, you know what, like, let's see what we can do. Can we put it back to its 1975 glory? Maybe not. But man, we can do a lot of damn good stuff here to make this town awesome again.
Give me an example of one of the
Sure.
cool things you're doing.
Sure. You mentioned Astor and Indigo, right? I'll start there. So they're the old town hall in Colfax, which is built in 1911, one of the oldest, coolest buildings on Main Street, sitting idle, nothing in it. But when you drive by it, it's just one of the neatest, old, eclectic looking, Masonic temple looking buildings you've ever seen. So we approached the town of Colfax and said, can we lease this from you? We will lease the building from you. We will remodel the building completely. And there's a chance that maybe a business would want to go in this building, right? Because there's not a lot of business or office space in Colfax. So sure enough, we did all that. And sure enough, Lauren Wyatt and her family, Adam, who went to high school with me, is just a great family, the Wyatt family. They said, yeah, we will put Astor and Indigo, our boutique, in this building. And you were there. Mm-hmm. It has become one of the people come to Colfax for this business, right? Now, there's so much going on in Lauren and Adam's life right now. Unfortunately, their candle business is booming. They're moving out of that space, but we are putting another business in there called the Peppered Pig, which is going to be this awesome little like coffee, tea, restaurant shop out there. Betsy and Veronica are going to run. So that's an example, right? Something that wasn't there. We took the initiative, remodeled the building. Somebody came in there. Another example, there was what I always famously called the red wall lot. Ugly red wall on Main Street, weeds growing behind it. Gross. It stood for 15 to 20 years. I might be high by a few.
I saw that.
Yeah.
It's like right there by the tracks.
No, the one, that's a different red. That's my next fix is that
okay,
one.
Sorry.
But on
I'm
Main
jumping
Street,
ahead.
There's a red wall lot. We bought the property. We tore the red wall down. We painted beautiful, had a muralist come in from Rockford, Illinois, and paint stunningly beautiful murals. We put 5 historical signs of Colfax in there about the founding of Colfax and the school districts of Colfax. And now people all over town I see on Instagram or Facebook every Friday or Saturday are taking photos in front of this. It says, welcome to Colfax, Illinois. And lastly, we just built this gorgeous Main Street pavilion. It was a lot of money to build this pavilion. And people are hosting parties in it, family reunions. We have a farmer's market in it every other Thursday during the summer. So there's 3 examples on Main Street alone of things we've done that would not have been there probably if we had not taken the initiative to do this.
Mm-hmm. And we started out the conversation with a pool, and
Yeah.
was that pool a part of Colfax revitalization project?
No, so it's my mom was actually a lifeguard at that swimming pool, and I'm not dating my mom, but she's much older than me at 41. Our swimming pool has been. It's funny to talk about a swimming pool like this, but it's like been one of the most important things in Colfax for a long time. It's what you do in the summer in Colfax is you go swim at the park at the pool. So I believe the park district just remodeled it again. And they've kept it going, which is amazing. It's such for a town of 900 to 1,000 people to have like this gathering place in the community is super important. So I think when you talk to Teresa, the hairdresser at Choice Cuts, who I used to get my hair cut at Teresa back in the day,
Mhm.
I believe that is where I think that's what she was talking about. Is the park district continues to revitalize, and that's the neat thing too. The other entities in town have kind of got on board with us, like they're doing something. The park district says, "All right, we'll redo the swimming pool," so that's kind of neat, and that's been a downhill ball rolling as well.
Yeah. Now, Michael, is there a summer project that you've got going on
Yeah.
right now, an end of the year summer project?
Yeah, so the big thing we're super focused on right now is there was a when I was growing up there was always a carnival and a Main Street function called Good Old Days in Colfax for an ever and ever. When I was about 10 or 12 years old, it stopped. They just stopped having it. So for the first time in 30 years, we are bringing Good Old Days back. So it's Friday and Saturday, August 4th and 5th. We're having a carnival in the park. That's Friday and Saturday. We're having a wiffle ball tournament in the park. We're having a golf cart parade. We have food vendors. We have all these sorts of things going on in the park. And then on Saturday, we are closing Main Street down, and we're having a very, very, very good band from Charlotte, North Carolina called Dirty Grass Soul. They've recorded with some amazing artists before in Nashville. They are coming to dedicate our new pavilion and play under the pavilion to the folks on Main Street on Saturday, August 5th. So it's going to be really neat. It's all day, August 4th and 5th. Like I said, we have a 5K fun run, a breakfast, a golf cart parade. There's bingo, a home run derby, vendors in the park. And we'll have a lot more information on this on our Facebook page, Colfax Restoration Project's Facebook page. We have a full schedule on there. But we're bringing something back to the town that has not happened in 30 years, which we're really excited about.
Now, you moved to Bloomington.
That's right.
Now, we kind of touched on this already. What do you think about the, tax burden of the state of Illinois? Is that going to deter people from moving to places like Colfax from other states? Is that the goal, or maybe is it to try to just get people out of bigger cities into Colfax who are already here in Illinois?
Listen, I don't think anybody would say, boy, taxes in Illinois are awesome. Nobody's going to make that claim, right? But my cousin is actually the mayor of Lexington, also Spencer Johansson. And Spencer's great. I love him to death. And he's done an amazing job in Lexington. He's kind of a beacon, a guiding light for how a mayor should do things in a small town. And Spencer's, and again, they have some advantages. They're on Route 66 and all those things. But Spencer has done an amazing job. Don't get me wrong.
There's something new in Lexington. I feel like every day that I find.
And one thing Spencer does is he does not wait. Spencer goes out and hunts those businesses, and that's really important, right? And we have a great mayor in Colfax, Mayor Dodds, too. But I tip my hat to Spencer because he's always hustling, man. He's out there hustling all the time.
What is it, that Common Grounds?
Yeah, like you said, there's new business in Lexington every other week. It seems like they do a great job. But Spencer always he told me a great line one time. He said, "I'm not ready to give up on the state of Illinois." And I love that, right? There's something romantic about that. We're born here, we're raised here. I see so many of my friends and family. Well, you know what? I'm leaving. I'm moving to Tennessee, or I'm moving to Iowa. And I'm not ready to do that. This is home, right? So to answer your question, yes, taxes in Illinois are not great. Yes, taxes in McLean County are not great, but home is home. And yeah, the idea would be that somebody could, from Bloomington Normal, if they wanted their, there's a lot of families that say, hey, I kind of want my kid to go to a small high school, right? That's a neat experience. Colfax is an unbelievably good school district, Ridgeview. Come live in it. We're working on hopefully getting a new subdivision in Colfax, new housing, things like that. Yeah, I would love for people to hear this and say, yeah, I want to check Colfax out, and I would love to move to a town like that.
Are you worried that your revitalization project is going to get too big and then all of a sudden it's another big city?
That would be, no, definitely not. Listen, if we have that problem, Kat, we have done, I'm not that good. Okay. I promise you I'm not that good. We're 1,000 people now. If I came in here in a decade and we were 1,400 people, I'd be doing a backflip, right? Because that means we've added 400. That's 30% of the population we've added to the town, 40%. No, I hope that's a problem. That'd be a good problem to have if that happened. So
yeah, really cool.
Yeah,
well, and then of course, if it got to a point where you were feeling good about the population, Would you pull out of the revitalization project, obviously,
Never.
if it's Never.
Never. It's ongoing. There is always, you can always, even something that's really good can be, there's an aspect of restoration that can be done to it, right? Always. And there are a lot of buildings in Colfax that need a lot of work. And our goal is to kind of, let's keep going. Let's don't stop.
So
Let's,
is this is it a nonprofit organization?
yes, it is. It's 501c3. Yes, ma'am. Colfax Restoration Project is non for, like I said, we have raised a lot of money and we spend it as soon as we get it because we want the people to continue to see what we're doing, what we're working on, what that our projects don't stop.
Really fun. Well, we're getting close to a break. So, Michael, can you tell us a little bit more about the Colfax Restoration Project and anything else you'd like to add on how people can find you?
Yeah. So obviously, this day and age, our Facebook, we have two things. We have a website, colfaxrestoration.org. You can check our website out. And then, of course, always on Facebook. Emily Wagner does an amazing job on our Facebook page, Colfax Restoration Project. You can find us on Facebook. And the biggest thing is our end of summer celebration is the good old days, August 4th and 5th. It's going to be very, very important for us. I want to pack Main Street. I want several hundred people on Main Street that night. It's going to be a classic Norman Rockwell Americana kind of festival on August 4th and 5th. You want a classic American small town feel, come to Colfax August 4th and 5th for good old days.
Awesome. Well, folks, that's going to take us to the break. You're listening to Cities 92.9. All right, friends, we will be back. I do want to talk about the town of Normal and this drag queen who is coming tonight. I don't know all of the details surrounding how much money we're paying this drag queen to come perform at this government hosted music festival. But I would be curious to see if there's going to be children in attendance. So unfortunately, I am going to go to this drag queen show tonight at 10 o'clock because I want to see if there's children in the audience and specifically if they're going to be checking people's IDs at the door. I don't know if this is going to be friendly for children. Probably not. It's a drag show, right? And Rita and Friends. This is a drag performance that on Instagram has performed in the past. At least a few months ago, they posted a performance that was deeply disturbing where they actually were performing and mimicking a satanic ritual where they slaughtered these white stuffed bunnies and sucked the blood from these white stuffed bunnies. So that is what your taxpayer dollars are going to if you are a normalite. So we'll be back. We'll be talking about this. Also, I don't know if y'all saw this, but this is deeply disturbing. So the U.S. Navy, they found out about this Titan implosion. So that submarine that I talked about a lot yesterday, my thoughts on it. Joe Biden only released the news this past Thursday about this implosion after Hunter, the plea deal, and the whistleblower reports were released about his. It was all a distraction, folks. It was all planned. The Wall Street Journal is reporting now that the U.S. Navy detected the Titan implosion on Sunday, and Joe Biden withheld that news from the American people until today. Today's whistleblower testimony on Hunter Biden. So this was yesterday, the whistleblower testimony on Hunter. We have found out some more about Hunter Biden. Hunter Biden, in some text messages, says that Joe Biden was in the room when he demanded cash from a Chinese oligarch. So it doesn't get more corrupt than that, demanding cash from a Chinese oligarch. and they withheld the news. So apparently the submarine imploded on Sunday. So this whole, like, they could hear the knocking of the people within this submarine. It's tragic that they died. They're presumed dead. Right, but it's even more tragic that we withheld the news that they died probably on Sunday. There was an implosion on Sunday, and we all this week were trying to talk we're trying to paint that the mainstream media was painting this as if they were dead yesterday. It was all fake. It was all fake news, literally fake news. Here's an Audrey Hale update for you. Audrey Hale, the Nashville shooter who killed 6 people, including 3 Christian children, the transgender Audrey Hale, has been burning in hell for 87 days. We still don't have the Tranifesto. The manifesto is still being hidden. Why? 309-451-9299. I so do appreciate y'all listening. Now, get this. This just in this morning. I'm reading this. The Wall Street Journal is now reporting that the U.S. Navy detected that the Titan submarine, where all those people died, it was tragic, and I'm saddened by it. However, it must be said that these people knew the risks. People said you were crazy. Why would you have 21 or 25-year-old women building the submarine with video game controls? I mean, it looks like there's a garden hose, there's a video game controller. This looks like it was pieced together by 5-year-olds, this submarine. And it was new technology that they were working with. They knew the risks. I think that's important to note. And this is what happens when you start to worship technology and when you get into your head that you can do anything as a human, right? There are limitations to what human beings can do, and you can't pull off building an effective submarine. Now, I don't know how it imploded. I don't know how it malfunctioned, but point is they lost communication with their mothership, and they were at the bottom, at the bottom of the ocean by the Titanic wreck. Now, the Titan implosion, though, here, folks, Wall Street Journal is reporting that the implosion happened this past Sunday. Now, the news has been that they were not dead all the way up until Thursday, and they claimed that Thursday was when it imploded. No. That's fake news, because the U.S. Navy detected that the Titan implosion happened on Sunday. Joe Biden and his administration withheld that news from you, the American people, until yesterday's whistleblower testimony on Hunter was over. They waited. This entire thing was a distraction operation. It was done and over with on Sunday. There was an implosion on Sunday. Do have to take a break. We are going to be visiting with a very special guest, James Martyr. He's running for Congress. I think he's in my hometown district. I wanted to have him on because he's running against Lauren Underwood. We're going to be talking about his run. James ran last election, the congressional election, lost, but he is getting back into the race, and I'm excited to hear what he's got planned.
Hey there. Can you hear me?
Hold on. Let's see. Boop. Okay. I think I've got it all set up here. James Martyr, how are you?
Good morning, Kat. How you doing?
Good. Can you hear me all right?
Yes.
Awesome.
I hear you fine.
We are live on Facebook and on YouTube right now, folks. We have James Martyr in our studio, in our digital studio, which is really exciting. And I can't wait to talk about your race. First, your reaction to the Titan story I just did. What should Congress do? If you were to be in Congress right now, is there anything that y'all can do about withholding this kind of information?
Yeah, it's
lying.
very bizarre. I mean, I don't even understand the benefit of that. It was a tragic accident with this company. I actually listened to the I forget its name off the top of my head, the director of the Titanic, who was also into all this deep dive stuff, and he was talking about how he and others had concerns about the safety of this particular submarine, but a very interesting one. But at any rate, yeah, I mean, it's weird. It's like it happened. They knew about it. Obviously, other people in the media knew about it. And why would they delay? It doesn't make any sense at all. I don't know.
So you're announcing your run against Lauren Underwood. Can you tell me about why you want to run in the 14th congressional district?
Yeah, look, it's I'm staying in it to fight for Illinois. You know, I didn't get into politics because I wanted a job in Congress, which there's a lot of folks that seemingly do that when they run these races. I want to fix Washington. Washington needs to be fixed. Lauren Underwood is part of the problem. She's you know, like the fifth member of the squad. She votes 100% of the time with Pelosi and Biden. And we did really well, as you mentioned. It was in the last race under this new configuration. So it's my second time in the 14th under this new configuration. And full disclosure, third time. But I live in the 14th district, been here 26 years, raised my children here. Our grandchildren are here. My wife and I have been here. You know, we just celebrated our 38th wedding anniversary a few weeks ago.
Congratulations.
And thank you. And, you know, we're here in Illinois. We're fighting for Illinois. This is where we both grew up. We grew up in the Peoria area, so part of your home district, right? And, you know, well, with the new map, your home district's always changing. It's dynamic, right? So that's what the Democrats do here in Illinois. So, but it's just that time. I have a great feeling about this. My supporters and my followers, I mean, I wouldn't do it if they weren't out there. We have great grassroots support here, and it's getting better, you know, every day, and so much encouragement from folks to, you know, and thanking me for saying, hey, you're going to stay in this fight. Interestingly enough, so it looks like possibly none of the folks that ran in the last cycle are going to run in this cycle. So there might be some new pop-up candidates, but it'll be an interesting cycle in 2024.
So can you lay out for me where this 14th congressional district kind of lies?
Yes, so it's my county, which is Kendall County. It's the only county of 7 which are 100% in. We have 80% plus of LaSalle County, so everything north of the Illinois River, and most of the county, a little bit south, is in the new Darren LaHood district, which is the 16th. So LaSalle County has a little bit of that, but it's primarily the 14th. We have a tiny bit of Bureau County on the east side, button up to LaSalle County. We have the northern third of Putnam County. And we have about 90% of DeKalb County, probably maybe even a little more than that, including the city of DeKalb, Northern Illinois University. And we have a little bit of Kane County, southern counties that border Kendall County, including Aurora Township, which has part of the city of Aurora in it. And then we have western Will County and parts of southern Will County, which is a huge county. They have like 6 congressional districts. But we have a lot of Will County, including the city of Joliet, Wheatland Township, which is parts of Naperville, Plainfield Township, all of Plainfield, Shorewood, Troy Township, and a little bit of Lockport Township. So it's a big, I mean, big district geographically, nothing like the huge districts you guys have down south in Illinois 14 with my favorite congressperson ever, Congresswoman Mary Miller in the Illinois 15th district. She's a House Freedom Caucus candidate. She endorsed my race in the last cycle. I'm looking for that again. And, you know, I need to join her, Jim Jordan, and all the other good House Freedom Caucus members in Congress.
Right. And Mary Miller, she did something that I kind of want to get your thoughts on. We're coming back here for the radio folks. So we're going to take a pause, but I want to ask you about something that Mary Miller just kind of put out there. It's a resolution about immigrants being housed in schools. But we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to come back.
Alrighty.
This story is going to shock you. California, a special needs student, was called a bigot by a teacher for not wanting to learn about how lesbians have sex. She opted out of this very explicit sex education, and the mom is peeved off because this little girl was called a bigot by her teachers for not wanting to learn about how to have lesbian sex. Yes, this is coming up here on the Morning Buzz. Also, did you hear this story? I'm just completely baffled by it. The Wall Street Journal this morning is reporting that the U.S. Navy had detected this Titan implosion. So the Titan submarine, where all these people, 5 passengers, they're presumed dead. They're dead. But this implosion that they were reporting about yesterday that happened on Sunday. Now, the U.S. Navy detected this implosion, but Joe Biden withheld that news until yesterday's whistleblower testimony on Hunter Biden, and until this plea deal thing was over. This entire thing was a distraction operation. They wanted to distract you from what was going on with Hunter Biden by dragging this news story out there. And dragging it along because it happened on Sunday. Were they dead on Sunday? What was the motive behind this? Hunter Biden, he bragged to the CCP oligarchs that his daddy, Joey, the basement dweller, was involved in his payoffs. And he gets this sweetheart deal. Like what? And Trump was charged with a paperwork dispute. Are you understanding the system? He's bragging to CCP oligarchs that his dad was involved in his payoffs. He gets this nice little sweetheart deal, slap on the wrist. If you or I were to do it, we'd go to jail for 10 years plus. Trump is charged with this paperwork dispute. And are you understanding what point of the movie you are in? Joining me right now on the Facebook live stream and on the radio, James Martyr. He's running for the 14th Congressional District. I wanted to have him on because he announced his run. And this is actually my hometown district. So we're kind of in West Will County there, right there by Joliet. So you are going to be our congressman, my family, right? I'm going to make sure that they're...
We love it, yes.
Right. So you're running against Lauren Underwood. Tell us why run against Lauren Underwood and what's the goal of running for Congress? And this isn't your first time running for Congress either.
Right. So it's I'm no spring chicken at this, but look, 8 years ago I got into politics in a big way, and I haven't stopped. All I can tell you is all my former opponents are gone, and I'm still here fighting, and I'm fighting for Illinois with the conservatives, the grassroots. I believe we're getting stronger. I think the evidence is out there that the grassroots and the Illinois Republican Party are getting stronger. And we need conservatives in Congress. We need conservatives at the state level, all around our local elections. We need them as well. So this is part of the reason I'm still in the fight. My wife and I celebrated our 38th anniversary here a little bit ago. My children were raised here in this district. We've been here 26 years. We have grandchildren in the district, and I'm staying to fight for them and fight for you and your children and your grandchildren here, because it's worth fighting for. Look, we are the best, the greatest, freest country on earth, but it's under attack. The 3 principles that matter most: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And those things matter. They're the foundation of our American principles, and they are under assault. They're under attack. Congresswoman Lauren Underwood is part of that attack on these principles. She's working and passing and voting for everything that the Biden administration wants: causing rampant inflation, out of control spending. We need to stop it. I'm a House Freedom Caucus candidate. And as I mentioned a little earlier, Congresswoman Mary Miller, my favorite congressperson from Illinois, she needs some help in Congress. So does the House Freedom Caucus and the Republican Caucus. And we need to take this country back, shore up our Republican majority in Congress. And we also need to take it back in the Senate and, of course, take the White House this year in 2024.
Right. And I wish you were there helping Mary Miller with this particular bill. And I want to get your thoughts on this. It's H.R. 461, and it seeks to deny federal funds to public schools that are used to, quote, shelter, house, or otherwise serve as a sanctuary for aliens not admitted into the United States. So she's got this bill out there saying, hey, let's stop funding this stuff. Let's
That's right.
withhold funding. We've got Brandon Johnson right now. I'm sure our local leaders here in Bloomington Normal are cooking up ways to find out how to house illegal immigrants in our public schools, in our colleges. I know Lincoln College, there's been whispers about how they are planning to house illegal aliens there in the abandoned college. And
That's right.
your
It's
thoughts
VERSED.
on this? What's the dangers that come with housing illegals in public schools where children go? Eric Adams has done it in New York, and
Yeah.
it's just a matter of time here in Illinois.
Let's look, first of all, it's another Democrat pay to play scheme with our taxpayer dollars, right? Because this is all about federal money flowing to Democrat controlled school districts all around the country with our tax dollars. This is what they're doing with our tax dollars. They're fueling an illegal immigration crisis, a migrant crisis. This is a humanitarian crisis. Look, I've worked professionally as a software consultant. I've worked in Mexico. I've worked in Sao Paulo. I've had a recent trip to Costa Rica, and I'm telling you, the problems in the countries south of our border are there because they don't have freedom, and we're creating a crisis where people are leaving countries, so they're losing people, talent, resources. And then it's all being forced through cartels, drug trafficking, coyotes, sex trafficking. It's a humanitarian crisis. We're driving this. We're incentivizing this to happen. We need to stop it. We have all the laws we need to enforce. We're just not enforcing them. We need to build the wall, finish the border, and shut it down, and go back to a sane immigration policy. And that's not what we had. That's not what we have now. And that's not what we've had for the last 20, 30 years. We need to get to it. I know President Trump had great strides in this, but we need more. We need a Congress that's going to enforce it and vote for it as well.
Right. And I'd love to see something like this passed where it stops federal funding to incentivize this stuff. But also, I want to see something passed, and I haven't seen it done at the federal level. I don't know if you keep up with Springfield, but what Springfield is doing right now is against, I think, federal law. It's unconstitutional. They are trying to give badges and guns to non-citizens and arresting power over citizens. And I'm pretty sure that's unconstitutional. I'm not too sure. I'm not a constitutional attorney. I don't know the ins and outs. But is there something that can be done to clarify, hey, let's not give guns and, intelligence. If you're in a police department, you are given all kinds of intelligence. What's next? Are they going to be a part of the FBI? Do we not? How will we be able to stop them
exactly.
from sharing
Look,
secrets?
it makes no sense. Every officer is sworn to defend the Constitution of the United States and the state of Illinois, and it doesn't make sense that you bring someone in who's an immigrant, whether they're legal or illegal, and it sounds like they're trying to open this wide open for illegal immigrants as well. Someone who broke the law to get here is swearing to uphold the law and our Constitution and doesn't even know or understand our Constitution. So a huge problem here. Thank God my state reps in Kendall County, Jed Davis and State Senator Sue Resin, both voted against that. It's what Springfield is doing is a disaster. We could talk, that could be like a long conversation or a month, right? Just what's going on down there.
Well, in the state of Illinois specifically, there's all kinds of laws. Amendment 1 was unconstitutionally put onto our ballots. There's a constitutional provisions that lay out, hey, this is how you put a ballot amendment on the ballot, right? And they completely ignored that. So I'm just curious if at a congressional level, you could use your powers as a congressman to force Illinois to comply with the Constitution. Like if there's some sort of bill that says,
absolutely,
hey, they swear to the Constitution, which they have to, because the Second Amendment thing, the gun grab, the Safety Act, there's all kinds of unconstitutional laws they are passing.
Right.
And I think
Congress has the power to enforce the Constitution. So one of the first powers that the Congress has is to pass laws to enforce the Constitution. So if the states are let's say out of control in that, that's what we do. And you see it done all the time, by the way.
Mhm.
But, most people aren't really aware of that. But a lot of the enforcement of the Constitution is done by legislation that was passed through Congress. So it's like election law, for example. There's a lot we could do in election law because, we can't, pass federal laws about state elections, but we sure can pass about federal elections. And guess what? The states would have to comply. So there's so many areas where if we have a conservative Freedom Caucus majority in the House and we have the Senate and we have the White House, we can get things done. And it's time to get some things done to roll back the disaster that has been the Biden administration and the leftists like Lauren Underwood in Congress that they have no appreciation or respect for our constitutional republic. They want to remake it and transform it in Barack Obama's image, and this is where we're at, in 2022 or 2023 here, right? So we need to fix it in 2024. That's the cycle I'm running for. 14th district. We had a great team last time, came up a little bit short, finished second in the district. We're going to get it done this time. I have the best grassroots out there, and they're fired up, and I'm fired up, and we're going to get it done.
I'm excited for you. James Martyr running for the 14th Congressional District. It's a big district, folks. Includes the city of Joliet. It has a bit of Aurora in there, DeKalb.
Yep, Oswego, Yorkville, Utica, LaSalle, Ottawa, all kinds of places in the good 14th here.
Before we go, I saw something posted on your Facebook page about drag queens and drag shows. So I want to get your take here. You said keep adults pushing adult content away from our children. Tell me about Lauren Underwood and this normalizing of pedophilia and how she has a part in that.
Yeah, look, Lauren Underwood, Biden, the whole left. I mean, they're promoting this agenda. I mean, actually, it goes back to Bill Clinton. So in 1999, well, it goes further back than that. But 1999, Clinton created this month-long celebration, Pride Month, right? I mean, our military vets have a day, or a day for the ones who died and a day for the ones who served, right? And we have a month-long celebration for something that's behaviorally oriented. It's not we have a huge problem here, and I don't have, look, I'm a equal opportunity person as far as I believe in the dignity of all human beings, and in this case, we're talking about children here. We're talking about they are targeting children with these efforts. They're inviting children. They're inviting people to bring their children. They're trying to do it through our public resources. I'm an Oswego Library board member, and I would have a huge problem if we tried to do this in the library, right? And it's being done at libraries around the country. We have a problem with promoting this content in public institutions, right? But the left controls most of our public institutions, from libraries to schools to everything else, the big cities like Chicago and New York, and they're promoting something that they shouldn't be promoting. This is not something that is required or anything. It's something that it's behavior oriented. It's something that people do. But look, when we target children, it needs to be stopped. This is out of control. It's in violation of our local porn laws and our state porn laws and probably our federal porn laws. And we need to stop it.
Right. James, thanks so much for joining me. We have to take a break. Speaking of which, James, you might want to stick around to hear this little bit about a drag queen who's coming to the town of Normal. Taxpayer dollars, it's the
hey, as
town
long
of
as it's
Normal.
adults only at a private venue, go ahead, but keep them out of the public and stop going after our children.
Here's the thing, though. The town of Normal is promoting this as an all-ages music festival. And this is one of the performances. Isn't this crazy? Why even promote it as all ages?
Yeah.
It's wild. James, be sure to visit martyrforcongress.us, martyrforcongress.us, the number 4, folks. So Martyr, MARTER, for Congress, and then follow him on social media because he has great posts.
Thank you. It's a pleasure being with you this morning, Kat. Great to see you again, and looking forward to seeing you soon.
All right, folks, we'll be back on the other side.
Department announced that.
Good morning, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Be sure to like the video right now. Like the video, smash that like button, share this video out with your friends. We are going to be talking about this story where a California special needs student was called a bigot by teachers for not wanting to learn how to have lesbian sex. Yes. And I don't know, folks, this is just my take on the whole thing. Come on. When I was in school, and this was not that long ago, this was in 2017 when I graduated from high school. They were not teaching us even how to have heterosexual sex. Okay. It was a science lesson. Hey, this is how babies are made. It was not at all a step by step instruction how to have sex. Now we've gone so far from that. We skipped teaching heterosexual sex and we started teaching people how to have homosexual sex, which is just insanity to me. Like, let's not teach kids how to have sex at all, period. There's a way to teach it scientifically how babies are made. And it's just so wild. This was like 6 years ago when I was in high school, and it's like, this is how far we've come. I do want to talk about this drag queen coming to the town of Normal on your taxpayer dime. This is a Normal hosted musical festival, and it's called Make Music Normal. They've promoted this as an all ages music festival. To their credit, they did throw this drag show at 10 p.m. They threw it at the last performance at the Normal Theater, right? It's one of the last one. It's a late night. So hopefully the kids are in bed, but it is summertime. The kids are out of school. It's a Friday night. It's very likely that 16, 17-year-olds would make it out for this sort of thing. And I'm curious if they're going to be checking IDs at the door. This is not appropriate for children. It's clear from this drag queen. He goes by the name Rita Taro. And Rita Taro has several posts of prior performances that are not child age appropriate. 21 plus venue, okay, whatever. The Normal Theater is not a 21 plus venue. And this is called allegedly supposed to be performing Ariana Grande's Break Free. But that is not consistent with what he has done in the past. There's been videos of this drag queen performing a satanic ritual, a white bunny, right? He took a white stuffed bunny, stuffed it into a bucket, took a knife, and stabbed it repeatedly and mutilated the stuffed bunny, then took the bloody bunny, like the fake bunny, out of the tub and started sucking the blood of this white stuffed bunny. I don't know if that has entertainment value, maybe to some individuals out there, but definitely not the majority of Americans. I mean, um, there's no way that is appropriate for a child to watch. It's like rated R. That's like what you would see in a rated R movie. So if there is a rated R performance at the Normal Theater, I sure hope that they are going to be checking IDs. James Martyr, thank you for coming on. And I am just so excited for your run. I'm glad that you're running again in that 14th congressional district. I have a soft spot in my heart for the 14th because I am from the 14th congressional district. I'm from a little up north, about an hour or so up north, and my heart is with the 14th congressional district. And I hope that James gets in because God help us if Lauren Underwood is there. She's going to continue to pervert your children. She's going to continue this crisis at the border. We did a story on cities929.com about an illegal immigrant here. He's here legally. He has paperwork because he didn't get asylum. He didn't get a visa. He's a non-visa citizen. He has paperwork that says, hey, my court date is this day and I have to show up to this court date. His name was John. We talked with him, and like James and we were talking about what is going on at that border is human trafficking. We had this guy from Romania go to Mexico, and he had to pay a Mexican man who had tattoos, multiple guns on him, $3,000 to not even get across the border, but to get close enough to the Texas Mexico border to be to walk across. So this guy had guns, threatened him with this brandishing of weaponry and said, "Hey, pay me money and I'll get you close enough to the border." So naturally, he had to pay. He didn't know that that was going to happen when he came to the United States because guess what? He was told that the United States is free, open. He said that the president lets anybody in and you can get asylum. Well, turns out that's not necessarily the case. We're going to be back here and I'm going to talk about this California student who was called a bigot for simply not wanting to learn about lesbian sex and how to do it step by step. If people want to do that after they turn 18, that's their business. Keep it out of the schools and stop trying to promote it to children. And it should be considered grooming or promoting pedophilia. And any teachers that promote that in our town should be removed. Any teachers or any town official that promote that should be removed. That's a comment that was made here on the live stream. You can see me live in studio, YouTube, Facebook, we're everywhere. That was a comment made. You can be a part of the show by commenting or texting in to 309-451-9299. That leads me to this story coming out of California. A special needs student was allegedly called a transphobic bigot by teachers during a health and relationships class at Glendale High School. Her mother, the mother of the special needs student, allegedly checked a box on a form that said, "Hey, you need to exclude my daughter from being taught anything LGBTQ plus or sexual in nature. That is my right as a parent. I do not want my child having a step-by-step guide on how to have homosexual sex." The school allegedly just didn't care. Also, the student allegedly did not use preferred pronouns, and this led to the teacher calling her a bigot. Excuse my excessive use of the word allegedly, but I do that for the independent fact checkers. I know that you know that I know that you know. Okay. These independent fact checkers, they're going to get on me because, allegedly an official came out and debunked all of this. It's like, what? The parent isn't credible, the student isn't credible, so you're going to sit there and say the story's false because they said it's their word against their like the school's word, okay? So it doesn't mean that the school is right, just means that the school is the official voice. And according to officials, this is a false story. Shut up. So here we go. I have a clip that I'm going to play for you. This is this mother who is very upset about, what this teacher said to her child after saying, "Hey, I don't want to be taught lesbian sex." We're going to get to this audio clip. She's from Glendale, and she tells the city council the school is teaching her daughter LGBTQ lifestyles, sex practices, and things like that. Let's take a listen. Here we go.
Of a parental or I have to give her permission to participate in sex ed, which I did give her permission to participate in sex ed to a certain degree, and then you can mark off boxes that you don't wish your child to participate in. I specifically wrote out anything that was LGBTQ plus and anything that would involve sexual acts that are gay or sexual acts that are lesbian in nature. This, however, wasn't respected by Glendale High School, and my daughter was taught subjects such as scissoring, which seems to be to females who decide to have sex with each other. And the good thing is they at least taught you to use female condoms, because if you don't use female condoms, then two females can get pregnant, which is not really normal, or not really normal, but not really something that can actually happen. When my daughter expressed that she should not be in these classes and that I did opt her out of these classes, she was called a bigot by her teacher and her aide. She was called intolerant, and she was also called homophobic. These are all terms that she actually didn't know until yesterday. They're not part of our vocabulary at home. And it was definitely not a setting that I wanted her to learn these terms in, and especially being called out on it just because she simply expressed that due to her Christian beliefs, this goes against her morals and this goes against her beliefs. And it was just as simple as that. At that point, a staff member told her to look at her skin color and to, if she wanted,
Ugh. I can't listen to it anymore, folks. Yes, because the girl has brown skin and is therefore marginalized, and because everyone on the LGBTQIAAP ABCDFGD spectrum is marginalized, the student has to embrace learning in school how lesbians have sex. Yes, because she's brown, she needs to accept this. No. To be fair, the Glendale High School communications director, Kristen Naum, issued a statement to Fox News claiming, quote, a general lesson from the health textbook was making healthy decisions in your relationship, and the teacher asked the girl to refrain from making inappropriate remarks. The school claimed no wrongdoing by the teachers, but it's still under investigation. So she said that she didn't say all of those things. She said that she told the student to, quote, refrain from making inappropriate remarks. Okay, I don't know about you, but people don't talk like that. Refrain. Hey, excuse me, can you refrain from making inappropriate remarks? No. This teacher allegedly called her a bigot, right? And what's super confusing to me, and when I was thinking about this story this morning, when I was in school, and this was 6 years ago, it wasn't that long ago. I know I'm dating myself here. 2017 is when I graduated high school. I had sex ed probably about freshman year, so 10 years ago. So about 10 years ago, man, I'm getting old. I went through sex ed. I was a freshman, 8th grade, that around that age, right? 10 years ago. And when I went through it, I can remember it. There was no talk of like how to have even heterosexual sex, right? It was a science lesson about how babies are made. And it was this discussion that we had talking about how you shouldn't make babies before you're married. And I went to a public school here, folks. It was a public school. It was a small school, Braidwood, right? Illinois. It was about an hour north of here. That's where I went to school. And we've come so far, so fast, to where we skipped even teaching how to have step-by-step heterosexual sex. And we skipped it and we started teaching children how to have homosexual sex. In the name of inclusion and stuff like equity, the government-run schools have decided graphic sex is the only way to teach students to be tolerant of each other. It's almost as if there's an ulterior motive going on here, folks. All right, coming up in just a bit, we are going to be talking with Scott Robbins for Scott's Takes a little later in the show, peeing on Yum Yum. Yes, you heard that correctly. Peeing on Yum Yum. A congressman, he roasts Eric Swalwell for allegedly sleeping with this Chinese spy, and the words peeing on Yum Yum were entered into congressional record the other day during this congressional hearing about the Russia hoax and the P tape, Donald Trump, right? That was all brought up by this congressman. And I've got that story here coming up a little later. Next, Scott Robbins joins the Morning Buzz. Tax deductible. Paying hookers, I guess, now is tax deductible. I wonder if we could do that, Scott Robbins, on the morning
No, the
buzz.
answer is no. The answer is absolutely not. Having tangled with the IRS a time or two in my life, I understand that this is not permissible. Okay, this is not but it happened. This is correct. Hunter Biden, you just got a slap on the wrist for illegal gun possession, and what else? There was something else he got charged with.
Tax fraud.
Tax fraud. Now, this is the fraud. This is part of the fraud. Hunter Biden deducted tens of thousands of dollars in payments he made to a prostitute and a sex club from his taxes. Now, this is according to the whistleblower. This is what he told Congress. The whistleblower, an IRS criminal investigator whose identity remains a mystery, but who worked on the Biden tax probe, told members of the House Ways and Means Committee in June that Biden improperly deducted those expenses from his taxes. That's unbelievable.
If you or I were to do something like that.
But to even think you can get away with it.
No.
I mean, to think that, I'm going to do this. I would love to know what the tax deduction was what it was titled. Yeah. What was that all about? How do you do that?
Like just one word, hooker?
Yeah.
Did you also see this text message? He reveals that Joe Biden was in the room when he was demanding money from this Chinese oligarch. It's like, how do you get away with this stuff? There's text messages.
Yeah, I mean, their evidence was there that Joe was in fact there when this was going on. I mean, I don't know what you have to do. I mean, seriously, you start talking about what the two different versions of the law, how they apply. And this is insanity. Hookers and a sex club, and you deducted it from your taxes, and nobody knows about this, and you got a little slap on the wrist, don't do this again. Good golly, man. And again, you call our friend Rick Johnson. I'll call him today and go, hey, Rick, can I deduct prostitutes from my taxes when you do them next? I'm going to say, he said, that's a hard no, man. No, you can't be doing that. There is a statute in Michigan. I want to bring this up. Gretchen Whitmer, who is one of the top 5 worst governors in America, just slightly behind J.B. Pritzker. But Michigan, the House has adopted in Michigan a proposed law, an adopted amendment that would criminalize, for instance, speech causing, quote, severe mental anguish in another person. Now, this is subjective, pretty vague. Although the proposed law would use the reasonable person standard, whatever that means, it still leaves a rogue prosecutor with the ability to criminalize words because someone's feelings were hurt. Hurt really bad. One local attorney correctly noted that this is in Michigan, under the proposed statute, harassment and intimidation can mean whatever the victim or the authorities want them to mean. The focus is on how the victim feels rather than on a clearly defined criminal act that is ridiculously vague and subjective, and this is an awful standard. Now, under this law, could pastors, and for that matter, a student who refuses to use preferred pronouns, be charged with a crime? For instance, a boy who claims he's a girl has his feelings bruised. The answer is yes. We would allow for prison time or diversion programs for the offender. In other words, the offender can avoid a jail cell if they agree to community service.
Wow.
The community service would, quote, enhance the offender's understanding of the impact of the offense upon the victim and the wider community. Pritzker hasn't thought of it yet, but I'm sure this will be next on something like this. That's insane.
Hurting somebody's feelings.
Feelings. And you could do time for it, or diversionary programs. Can you imagine those things? How awful they are? Give me prison before I sit through a diversionary program. Yeah.
What's his name? Douglas Mackey, I think was his name, with the meme. He made a meme kind of making fun of Hillary Clinton, and he kind of, said, hey, texted, or it was clearly fake and it was a meme, right? And he was convicted of crimes for making a meme about Hillary.
Yeah. Some of the most vile, awful things I personally have ever had to deal with have come from the same people who want to enact laws like this. Same people. Golly. But yeah, your pastor starts talking about you better live a better life, or you're not living in the image of Christ. You're not doing the right things. Yeah, and my feelings were hurt in church, so I'm going to sue the pastor. I'm going to go for him. He broke the law.
Or how about this? Your boss at work says, you can't take off 7 weeks
Right.
for vacation. Oh,
Right.
That hurt my feelings.
It hurt my feelings. Therefore, I have
Your boss
reason.
going to end up in handcuffs?
I want my punitive damages now. Yes. Final story today. A gay bar in Minneapolis, Minnesota has surprisingly joined the boycott against Bud Light. What? And not for the reason you think, by the way.
Oh.
This is the New York Post. They report that the Minneapolis gay bar that is known as the Saloon has replaced all their Anheuser-Busch products, which includes Bud Light and beers from local breweries, because it feels the company has, quote, abandoned the queer community in wake of the backlash over Bud Light and Dylan Mulvaney and all that. Man, I'm telling you, you talk about one person, one idiot in the marketing department at Budweiser and Bud Light who decided putting Dylan Mulvaney in a bathtub drinking a Bud Light was a great idea. That brand has been ruined, maybe indefinitely. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're trying to change it up now. Have you seen the new commercial?
Yeah, there's a new commercial out there.
No, it's like people frolicking during the summer and having a great time, and they're drinking their Bud Light. And that spot should have ran long before Dylan Mulvaney, if at all.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you I saw a meme the other day that a kid said, "Oh, yeah, well, your dad drinks Bud Light and gets it from Target." So
yeah,
well,
the
funny.
leftists are freaking out over Target. Now they don't want to go to Target because Target said that they were going to, remove, and the one here locally did not, from the front of the store to the back of the store. The one here in Bloomington did not move their gay pride stuff, but there was a statement issued. They said that they were going to move the pride stuff to the back of the store out of the sight of, the children who walk in. But now leftists are mad at Target, so they're like shooting themselves in the foot. They've really backed themselves into a corner, both Bud Light and Target.
Well, there's a time too when you either are 100% on board or you're against us. Mm-hmm. That's where a lot of these shriekers live. They live in that world that you can't even have a opposing opinion, and if you do, they demonize you. This is and they're good at it. They've done it for a long time. Mm-hmm. And they do it, and they keep doing it and doing it and doing it. And now they're pissed at Bud Light. And if I'm AB, I just throw my hands up. I don't even know where to begin now.
What was really
but here's
funny.
one place you can begin. If you're Bud Light, you can apologize to people. You can say,
yes.
You know what, we're sorry, we screwed up. This was the intent was this way, and it was a wrong intent. And our core audience is you. Come on back. We love you guys. We won't make this mistake again, but we're sorry. But they're not going to do that, because if they do that, that really alienates themselves from the cause. But that's all people ask for. Everybody makes mistakes. We go, okay, well, this was a mistake. Mm-hmm. But anyway,
they won't do it. What was really funny on Tailgate and Tall Boys, I talked to this guy, and he came up to the tent and he was like, "Can I get one of those koozies?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." It was like, "Here's a koozie," and he's like, "Yeah, I gotta hide this Bud Light logo." And he goes, "I just don't want people knowing that I'm drinking Bud Light. I don't want people to think I'm gay."
Yeah.
And because that's all they had out there. I think there was like a very limited supply of different types of beer, because naturally, right, they've cornered the market, right? Anheuser-Busch owns like almost all of the beer.
Or they locally bought into it or bought the rights to sell only their beer there. I mean, they do that at ballparks too, unfortunately, but that's what they do. Yeah. It's just the Bud Light brand, and I can remember growing up, and I was a huge Bud Light guy before I quit drinking 7 years ago. But the Bud Light brand was huge, and people would always say, "How can you drink that stuff? It doesn't taste well." I wasn't one of the beer snobs. I was just a guy who liked drinking Bud Light, But when I quit drinking, their profits dropped like crazy. And now they really dropped like crazy. I didn't sit in a bathtub with a can of Bud Light either. So, although I thought about that a few times, I got to be honest with you. All right. Kat, have a good weekend.
You too, Scott Robbins.
Rack it up. I'm going to go to the Doobie Brothers Saturday night.
Ooh, that sounds
Yeah.
like fun. Fun
Yeah.
concert. I'm going to a drag show tonight, Scott Robbins.
Well, looks like I win the weekend then.
Yes, you do. You
All right.
sure
Well,
do.
you have fun at your drag show tonight. Okay.
I sure will.
By the way, there's a
Not-
reason she's going, but
Yes.
yeah, okay. All right. Just want to clear that up. Like, Cat's going to a drag show? What? All right. Talk to you later.
See you later, Scott
All right,
Robbins.
bye.
Yes, going to a drag show later tonight. I'm going to see if there's any kind of criteria when it comes to allowing children into this thing. There's a drag queen coming to the town of Normal at this is the town of Normal's music festival, so I'll be going there. I'm back next. Good morning. Hey, thanks so much. If you're watching right now, smash the like button, share this out with your friends. Let's get to your comments. Here we go. Just reverse it and tell them that people that promote against the Constitution hurt my feelings. Or, yeah, right. So people that lie and say that they're a girl when they're really a male, if they promote communism or socialism, that hurts my feelings because it's a detriment to America. Yeah, so reverse it on them. Look, folks, but we know Michigan is creating this law for the purple-haired, red-haired LGBTQers because they get bullied. They're not bullied. When I say that you're a man and you are a man, that just means that I'm being factual and truthful with you, which is actually me expressing the most highest love. I wouldn't lie to somebody that I love, so I'm not going to lie to you and affirm your crazy thoughts, your circus, right? And that doesn't mean that I hate you. It just means that I'm telling you the truth. But we know that that wouldn't happen, right? If the roles were reversed and we said, hey, you're hurting my feelings promoting communism. Hey, you're hurting my feelings promoting this pride stuff, this LGBTQ stuff. We know that the laws won't be applied equally. Okay. This law is designed for those on the left who think that they're bullied when we tell them the truth. And when we refuse to affirm they're crazy, that criminals are good people, that LGBTQ is appropriate for children, when we don't affirm their ridiculous circus, they say that that's bullying and that that's harassment. And I'm sorry, folks, but this law is not designed for Republicans or for people on the right to say, "Hey, you hurt my feelings teaching socialism in school." Same thing with the Illinois book ban. Right? It's clear that if there's a Bible in the school, you can't ban the Bible, right? If this law applied equally to people in the state of Illinois, they would say that this book ban, you can't ban books in the state of Illinois, would apply to the Bible, but it doesn't. It applies to a certain list of books that the American Library Association claims are the most banned books. And all of these most banned books are LGBTQ themed or, sexually explicit. So this law that Illinois cooked up in the middle of the night and passed, it's called the anti-book banning law. That's what JB touts it as. It does not apply to things like the Bible. It does not apply to Catcher in the Rye. It doesn't apply to George Orwell's 1984. It doesn't apply to all kinds of a Huckleberry Finn. It doesn't apply to those books. It only applies. You can't ban this set of sexually explicit books. And like, how is that fair? If we're not banning books, then we shouldn't ban the Bible from being in school. But they explicitly wrote the law and for these sexually explicit books, they intentionally wrote this law for leftists. And that's the way these laws go. Now, one thing that I want to hit when we come back is this nice news story about Milwaukee tools. In the comments right now, if you're watching, can you send me in what tools you like to use? Milwaukee? Are you a Black & Decker? Are you a, oh gosh, I'm trying to think of other brands of tools. Ryobi? What kind of tools do you use? Do you use all of the same tools? I know my dad is very specific about what kind of tools he uses. He's a Milwaukee tool guy. and he refuses to use any other tools, right? The company Milwaukee, they've got a nice news story out here coming out of a high school in Mississippi this morning. So I wanted to share that with you here for Friday. Um, we'll be back very shortly in about 15 seconds. Good morning. Hey, coming up in just a little bit, we will be talking about Joe Biden pledging allegiance to the wrong national anthem. And it takes him 12 awkward seconds to realize that the prime minister, or like the Indian national anthem, was being played. And he slowly lowered his hand from his heart, realizing that they were playing the Indian national anthem first when he was standing alongside the Indian prime minister. It's quite hilarious. So we're going to be talking about that. Plus, I do want to talk about the town of Normal hosting this drag queen called Rita Taro. And Rita Taro and I, we got into some Twitter beef because Rita is claiming all kinds of false things, right? And claiming that she's not, or he's not from Chicago, although his words, uh, directly pulled from his Instagram page, say that he is from Chicago. So it's your words against your words, pal. And allegedly, he's not performing satanic rituals at the Normal Make Music Normal Festival today at the Normal Theater. It's going to be at 10 p.m. I am planning on going to make sure that there's no children in the audience and to see if there's any kind of boundaries that they set up there at the Normal Theater. I'm sure this is going to be some sort of rated R show. Although the town of Normal is promoting this music festival as an all ages event, uh, I would hope that they're checking IDs at the Normal Theater. You wouldn't allow children into a rated R movie. Are they going to allow children into a rated R show? We'll see. I do want to talk about Joe Biden pledging allegiance to this the wrong national anthem. This clip is pretty hilarious. I also want to talk about the uh, peeing on Yum Yum being entered into congressional record. A congressman roasting Eric Swalwell for allegedly sleeping with a Chinese spy during this hearing. I've got all of that and more on the Morning Buzz. Catch me on the live stream, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. I'm there. All right, when I come back, I will be sharing the Milwaukee story with us. It's a story coming out of Milwaukee, DeWalt, Cobalt, Ryobi. There's so many of them. I have and use nearly every brand of tools. Yes. So some people are totally cool with just even the cheapo, cheapo, even the cheap Harbor Freight tools, the off-brand tools. Now, what kind of tools do you use? I know my dad is like super specific when it comes to tools that he uses. He only uses the Milwaukee brand. I like Ryobi just because the batteries in these power tools are like they are designed for each and every tool, so you just need like the one battery pack for the Ryobi tools. But Black and Decker is probably like my main because they're so cheap to buy, and it sucks because Milwaukee is pretty expensive. I think Milwaukee just runs a little bit higher. I don't know if the quality is much different. I don't think so, but Black and Decker, I like those. I recently bought my brother a hedge trimmer. He's works in landscaping lawn care. I bought him a Black and Decker hedge trimmer. So, what kind of tools do you use? Do you have a preference? Milwaukee, Black and Decker, Ryobi. I like these comments here. Now, what I want to talk about when we come back, Joe Biden pledging allegiance to the wrong national anthem. That's kind of funny. Also, the peeing on Yum Yum thing. That was a hilarious clip. Can't believe those words were entered into a congressional record. And then I do want to talk about this California special needs student. She was called a bigot by one of her teachers for not wanting to learn about how lesbians have sex. And she was even called not brown enough, basically. So the teacher, after she says, "Look, I don't want to learn this stuff," I'm pretty sure my mom opted me out of this explicit sex ed about LGBTQ sex, a step-by-step guide on how to perform homosexual sex. Even though my mom opted me out of this, I don't want to learn this. So the teacher looks at this little girl and says, "You do realize you need to look at your brown skin, look at your skin color." Yes, yes, because I'm a minority and I'm in a minority population. That makes me automatically, I'm supposed to automatically be tolerant of the fact that you are teaching me explicit things about homosexuality, very explicit. And like I said, when I was in school about 10 years ago, that's probably when I learned sex ed, 8th grade. I graduated in 2017 from high school, dating myself a little bit. But when I was in high school, this sort of thing did not happen. You didn't learn about heterosexual sex and how to have heterosexual sex. It was taught as a science. It was a science lesson, and they talked about how there was they talked about how there was making babies and the science behind making babies. They went even as far as you probably don't want to have babies before you're married. And I went to a public school. Okay, that's what they were teaching me in my public school. It was a small public school in a small town, so we know that that's a little different from maybe growing up in like an inner city area or a city. But bottom line, we have come very, very far in just the last 10 years when it comes to teaching this stuff to our children. Thanks for checking out the drag show. For us, looking through some of Rita's stuff online, he may originally be from Bloomington Normal, but sure seems like he lives in Chicago now. Either way, that makes absolutely no difference. Yeah, so I'm going to share this Twitter thread with you. Um, Here's the Twitter thread. Sorry, that's wrong. I posted this. So this is him actually saying, so this is Rita Taro, the drag queen himself. I'm going to share this screen with you. In this Twitter clip, he actually says he's from Chicago. So, quote from Rita Taro here on his personal Instagram page, on his Instagram page that's public to everyone. He says, "My name is Rita Taro and I am from Chicago, Illinois." It doesn't really make a difference. So I posted this. It was all factual in nature. Killing white rabbits is a known satanic ritual. That's just true. Some experts say. In fact, city officials said this when there was a big story that came out in 2014 about a satanic cult that was in this very small Italian city where there was this cemetery where people were mutilating white rabbits, actual white rabbits, and ripping their hind legs off, throwing them in this nylon bag, and doing these satanic rituals at a small town cemetery in Italy. So the story, it's very comprehensive, and it's very factual. I I decided to throw it up on our news page. You guys can read it. But bottom line is that it really doesn't matter where you're from, dude. Even though you said you're from here, I'm just going to share my screen here with you about the drag queen. Very disturbing. And kids, if you're watching, please boot off right now for a little bit. If you're watching and you're a child, this is not age appropriate. So here is a picture. Yes. Photo courtesy to the Rita Tara Instagram page, right? So you post this stuff, but then you get upset when I post it and when I inform people about your Instagram. So a drag queen who acts out slaughtering and gutting animals is going to be featured as a performer here at the Town of Normal's Make Music Normal 2-day event. Good morning. Good morning. This is the Morning Buzz. Thanks so much for tuning in. In just a little bit, there's a story coming out of Mississippi, and I want to get your reaction. What is your favorite power tool brand to use? Now, I don't know if y'all are like my dad, but he uses very specific brand of power tools and does not change. So he uses Milwaukee power tools, and he will not change. He will not buy DeWalt. He won't buy Cobalt. He won't buy Ryobi. I like the Ryobi ones because the battery packs you can kind of switch out for all of the power tools, but you just need the one battery pack, which is pretty cool. I also like Black& Decker because they make toasters too. And my Black & Decker toaster is phenomenal. But Black & Decker is also, I think, a bit cheaper. And I like this comment. I buy everything. I kind of mix and match my brands. And he said, I even buy the cheap Harbor Freight tools. They work just as well. So let me know in the comments. Let me know on our text line. What kind of tools do you use? Power tools. What brand? Is there a specific brand? Do you use all of them? Let me know. We are going to talk about this story. If you're watching online, you can kind of see everything that I'm talking about. And fair warning, if you have children, I don't recommend that they go to the live stream right now and watch this. This is a very explicit performance done by Rita and Friends. This is a drag queen group that is coming to the town of Normal. So Rita and Friends, they're coming to the town of Normal today. It's a 2-day music festival. It's called Make Music Normal. Now, I have placed a FOIA, Freedom of Information Act I have placed a FOIA, and I FOIA'd the town to find any kind of documentation, any and all documents surrounding the purchases and payments made for this music festival. Because this is hosted by the town of Normal, one must assume that taxpayer money could be being used for this event that is happening tonight at about 10 o'clock. So it's a 2-day music festival. I'm sure there's other performers. Now, one thing I will give the town of Normal is that this is at 10 o'clock at night. However, on their website, they're promoting the entirety of this Uptown Normal music event as, quote, all ages and skill levels engage with music. So these experiences in Uptown Normal, all with stages all over Uptown Normal, and these participatory experiences are designed to let guests of all ages, that's important, folks, and skill levels engaged with music. This is a free to attend festival and to not be missed. So as a part of this festival, they are promoting as an all-aged event. They have Rita, Taro, and Friends. Now, Rita and her friends, drag queen friends, and his friends. Sorry, he's a man and he dresses as a woman. And it's unclear what they're going to be performing at Uptown Normal. I got into kind of a tiff with this Rita person because I covered the story and he briskly removed the video in which I threw up there in our web article, that you can read at cities929.com. He briskly removed it because it's disturbing, I believe. I mean, why remove it, right? Why remove the video? In the video, you can see two, one being Rita himself performing what is known as a satanic ritual. This is just factual, okay? It's a white stuffed bunny. He takes the white stuffed bunny and he puts it into like a barrel, and then the other drag queen he's performing with takes the knife, mutilates the bunny, stabs the bunny, slaughters the bunny, and then they pull out a bloody stuffed white rabbit and they start sucking the blood out of this rabbit that is mutilated. Now, some things have developed out of this. Drag queen Rita, after taking down the video from his Instagram page after we publicized it, he said that this was at a 21 plus age venue. Okay. Yeah. I mean, the story about that specific performance is just letting people know here in the town of Normal that this is the type of performances you put on. and he said that this was for a 21 plus aged venue, and that it was for a spooky theme, and that's totally cool. If that and that he wasn't from Chicago. I didn't say he was. I mean, I said he was a Chicago performer. Uh, Apparently, he performs in Chicago. He says that he's from Chicago in multiple clips. Here's just one clip, right, where he says he's from Chicago. I'm just going to play it here for us, and it's very clear. Here we go.
My name is Vitas Harrow. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. My name is Vitas Harrow. I'm from Chicago, Illinois. My name is Vitas Harrow.
So he says that he's from North, although on Instagram page, he says he's from Chicago. There's been a few leftists, and this is how they think of Central Illinois folks. There's been leftists who say that this is why we make fun of Central Illinois because they are, bigoted and they've got small minds and things like that. So that's what leftists think about people in Central Illinois. That's what these people like Rita think of you. They don't even like you, but they're being invited to perform here in the town of Normal on your dime. Okay, so I mean, this is a very disturbing Instagram page. You can go check out Rita Taro on his Instagram. And look, you don't, and he says that he's going to be performing Ariana Grande's Break Free tonight at 10 o'clock at this all aged event that the town of Normal is hosting. And I'm just curious. I hope they're going to be checking for ID. I'm sure that this is a rated R show, judging by what he has done in the past. So I don't know. It'll be interesting if there's children in the audience. I do want to shift gears here. There is a cute news story that I wanted to bring you this morning about power tools being donated to a school. So the company Milwaukee Tools, and I was asking you guys, hey, what's your favorite tools? My dad, he loves the Milwaukee Tools. I like the Ryobi ones. I also like the Black & Decker ones, but Milwaukee, they manufacture heavy duty power tools. And they recently donated $100,000 worth of equipment to a high school in Mississippi. This is awesome because it's unfortunate that a lot of children don't know how to use power tools. Okay. I'm not good at power tools, but I know how to use some. An Oxford high school runs a special career technical education program, which offers students lessons in construction, electrical writing, heating, ventilation, air, and conditioning. So this is technical. This is a technical education program in this high school, which is cool. Milwaukee Tools actually gave the program many tools, which will allow the teachers to provide hands-on learning opportunities to prepare students for high-demand careers. Yes, these are all in high demand. It's scary how there aren't any electricians. There's not a lot of people who do the sort of work like that we need done. Right. The donation is helping the special program grow. It currently has 18 total courses, the program. And as more resources are added, more students will be able to learn valuable skills in high school and then enjoy careers right away when they graduate. So I'm all for this. I think that that's really cool. What power tools do you use? I like this. This definitely came from a female. She comments, she goes, power tools. Our garage is a scenery of black and yellow. So there's a black and yellow. I think that's DeWalt. I'm pretty sure that's the DeWalt brand. Text me. Let me know what power tools you like to use. 309-451-9299. It's a Friday. I've got more fun stories for you coming up. There were some children of military parents who raised money with art, actually. So I'm going to be getting to that story here in just a little bit. It's a story that will warm your heart. Also, did you know that today is National Bring Your Dog to Work Day? I don't know if I could bring my dog to work. He's a bit big. But we have had multiple dogs in studio, which is kind of interesting. You wouldn't think a radio station has multiple dogs come into the office here, but we had so far in studio. I've seen a Great Dane. I've seen 2 Great Danes, actually 2 Great Danes. I've seen Labradors from Nord Outdoor Power. Doug and Deb from Nord Outdoor Power actually brought in their Labradors one time, which was a great treat, right? I love I love pups. I love the pups. Now, one thing that peeves me off is when I'm at like a restaurant and it's one of those little yapper dogs. I'm a big dog person. I do the German Shepherds. I have a German Shepherd. He's like 120 pounds. But one of the things that really bothers me is when these people have these little yappers and they bring them to like a restaurant and it's clearly not a service dog. Like, I don't know of a Chihuahua that's a service dog, right? It doesn't have the vest on or anything like that. And then they bring their Chihuahua in to like a restaurant and here the little thing is like yapping and nobody says anything. I'm like, wait a second. I'm eating right now and your Chihuahua is yapping in the booth next to me and that's bothersome. Uh, I do have another story coming up about Fang Fang. You guys remember Fang Fang. She's the Chinese spy that Eric Swalwell allegedly was sleeping with. And there was a congressman who roasted Eric during a congressional hearing about the Russia hoax. So, as we all know, there was a P tape, right, where they said that Donald Trump was with hookers peeing on each other. And this was mainstream news. There were headlines from mainstream news organizations, and we know that that story is false. We also know that the story where feds claimed that Donald Trump was compromised by Russia, which no, he wasn't, according to the Durham report. Uh, we all know that that was all false. And John Durham, he testified about his report and about the institutional biases that the FBI has. And there was a Texas representative who brought up this outrageous aspect of the Russia hoax, the P tape, right? And he just lays into Swalwell when it comes to his affair with Christine Fang, aka Fang Fang, and the Texas representative calls Fang Fang Yum Yum. So he said peeing on Yum Yum, and that was actually entered into congressional record. I've got the clip coming up next.
But a new report shows businesses are leaving.
Good morning, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. I will go ahead post that link of the Milwaukee tools in Mississippi. It was really cool to see. I mean, just this alone makes me want to buy Milwaukee tools. This is a really nice thing that they did for uh, the Oxford High School, which is really cool. I will post that here in the comments now. Curious what y'all think about this. I think is the district. The district put it up there in the links there. I don't know if you have access to the link, but the district put it up on their district page, the Oxford High School. Wonder if the town will be doing Saturday night strip shows or the like in the Uptown Theater. Is that where we are heading? Yeah, so as we know, the town of Normal is hosting Rita and Friends, who allegedly is from Bloomington. Normal appears to be frequenting Chicago, says he's from Chicago, but apparently isn't from Chicago. His word against his word here, folks. He tried to go after me, say he wasn't from Chicago, tried to, backpedal and say that this was a 21 plus venue. It was a spooky theme, blah, 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 which is all fine and dandy. I wasn't talking about that performance. I was just talking about the fact that you have this featured on your Instagram page and that you were invited to the town of Normal. He posted the satanic ritual video about 3 months ago. It was 16 weeks ago where he posted it, which, naturally leads someone to believe that he performed about 3 months ago for people. And this performance featured him slaughtering a white stuffed bunny and sucking the blood from a white stuffed bunny, which is rated R. My problem is that the town of Normal is promoting this as an all ages event. It's very clear on the website what they're saying about the event, that it is all ages and that it is a festival to not be missed. Okay, so they're promoting it on their webpage as an all-aged event. So I'm concerned, naturally, right, when you're promoting this as an all-aged event, when you have a lineup that features somebody like Rita Taro. Rita Taro performs, mimics satanic rituals as a performance, and I don't think that's appropriate for children. So I am planning on attending this drag race or drag show, drag race. I'm a big racing person. I like watching F1. Drag racing is totally different meaning nowadays. But I like watching Formula One. I'm a big race car person. But I will be watching the drag show today, and I'm specifically going to be looking in the audience for people, uh, specifically children. And I'm going to ask the normal theater, hey, was it considered to make sure that there were age appropriate people coming into this drag show? Are you checking for ID? If there is a rated R movie, you naturally check for ID at the normal theater, right? And I would imagine that this is going to be rated R, but we'll see. He says the Rita and Friends guy, Tarot drag queen, Rita Tarot, says that he's performing Ariana Grande's Break Free. And I'm curious. I don't know if that's going to include him breaking free of his clothes, as they typically do, and stripping for children, but we'll see what happens. I do want to talk also about Feng Feng and this congressman. Now, I don't know if y'all saw this, but there was this U.S. Navy story detecting the Titan implosion on Sunday, and the Biden administration only released the news yesterday, Thursday, after Hunter Biden plea deal and after the whistleblower reports were released. So after he goes through this plea deal, doesn't get prison time, although you or I, if we were to do something like, oh, I don't know, lie on a background check to obtain a firearm, that's punishable by at least 10 years, right? He publicly admitted that he was smoking crack every 15 minutes. Very publicly, he said this, but he lied on his background check because he said that he was not addicted to drugs. Naturally, he didn't get any prison time because he's the president's son and we live in a regime and Joe Biden is a dictator. So, this plea deal happened this week. Now, we know that this submarine implosion happened on Sunday. So, I don't think that these people were alive all the way through Thursday. So, apparently, they said that they ran out of air on Thursday and that there was this implosion, but this implosion was detected by the United States Navy on Sunday. So, was this story a distraction meant to keep us away from what was going on with Hunter Biden? Was it meant to keep us away from the fact that Hunter Biden has text messages that say that Joe Biden was in the room when he demanded cash from a Chinese oligarch? Quote from the text, I'm sitting here with my father, and we would like to understand why the commitment made was not fulfilled. The message reads. So, was this all a distraction? Throw it into the comments. What do you think about all of this? And this is the very definition of fake news. And it just shows you how scary this really is when mainstream news runs with things that they say. And, you're supposed to take it as some sort of truth fact, but they're lying. They're lying and they lied for a reason. I think that the benefit to this is a distraction away from what his son was doing. Well, this is deeply disturbing. I don't know what y'all think about this, but there's a report out there that shows that this Antifa member naturally got no prison time. And you're like, okay, what was he doing? Was he vandalizing? Sure. Maybe he's from Portland. He's an Antifa member. Surely he was just kind of vandalizing. Maybe he was being a little unruly. No, there's no prison time for a pedophile Portland Antifa member who pleaded guilty to stabbing a black conservative guy at the 2020 riots. So a Portland Antifa member with a child sex crime conviction gets no prison time in a sweetheart deal after pleading guilty to stabbing a black conservative live streamer during the 2020 BLM Antifa riots. This happened. His name is Blake Hamp, and he's 46 years old. He pleaded guilty in a sweetheart deal to a felony second-degree attempted assault, and he's not going to serve any kind of prison time, instead getting 3 years probation. The charge is downgraded from the original felony second-degree assault charge. The felony charge of unlawful use of weapon was also dropped in this plea deal. This is disturbing. It's disgusting. He was I mean, the pictures of this is gross. It's gross that you can see the gruesome, the blood. The black conservative was in the hospital. This case dragged on for nearly 3 years with multiple trial dates pushed back. During this time, Antifa extremists in Portland intimidated this black conservative for participation in this case. They harassed him at the grocery store. They tried to, he didn't die, right? He attempted to, I think, kill, right? This guy. He stabbed this black conservative during these 2020 riots, and they attempted to uh, hurt hurt him and tried to get him to not testify against his attacker. So on July 25th, 2020, during the height of the nightly far left rioting in downtown Portland, this guy Blake was recorded on video. It's on video stabbing Andrew. Andrew is the black conservative who was hospitalized and narrowly survived being paralyzed as the blade pierced inches from his spinal cord. He was taken into an ambulance in July 2020. This is truly disturbing. Guy also has a conviction of sex crimes against a child. He's a pedophile. This is so sad. But yeah, this is a two-tiered justice system. How do you get no prison time for stabbing a guy on video? I don't know. I just don't know. And if you're watching on the live stream, you can see the picture of the guy. I'm going to share this with you. It's disturbing. So if the kids are watching, do not let them watch the live stream. There's the picture of the guy. He is in what appears to be a furry costume. And then as you go down the article from the Post Millennial, who has the details on this, you can see the bloody soaked rags. You can see the man being taken in a gurney, Andrew in the hospital bed. So I don't think that from what I'm reading here, I don't think that he was permanently paralyzed, but he was stabbed enough to where it was inches away from his um, spinal cord. So he narrowly survived being paralyzed. So he could have been paralyzed here, folks. And this guy got a sweetheart deal. 309-451-9299. Did you also see this? This was Wall Street Journal reporting today. And this is the big news of the day. The whole Titan implosion yesterday, that news broke. Well, the Wall Street Journal is reporting today that the U.S. Navy actually detected that the Titan submarine, where it held 5 passengers who are presumed dead, they were killed, or they were killed in this submarine. And all of it aside, right? The submarine was not built by experienced people. Okay, the guy who was in charge of this, the Ocean Gate CEO, who was a part of this expedition to go see the Titanic wreckage, he hired 25-year-old women to work on this submarine in the backyard of his house, and they decided to control the submarine using a video game controller. Like, come on. This is clearly and this is what happens when you are obsessed with technology and you don't think that you're untouchable. Like, he thinks that he's untouchable and that nothing bad will ever happen to him, and he thinks he's above God. That's what it is. These people, they believe technology and they worship technology, and they put all of their faith in that. And it leads to problems like this, where you find yourself at the bottom of the ocean by this Titanic wreckage, and your submarine stops. And you're like, oh, how could that happen? Well, you sat there and you were excited about the fact that you used no experienced people. Because, to quote him, he said 50-year-old white men are not inspirational. And then he used these 25-year-old females to build a submarine. Okay. So the Wall Street Journal is reporting today that the U.S. Navy actually detected this implosion that was news yesterday. It actually happened on Sunday. So the Biden administration, what that means is that they held the news until yesterday, when there was whistleblower testimony on on Hunter Biden. Okay, I think the whole thing was a distraction operation, and I think it's all fake news. Obviously, right? If there was an implosion that happened on Sunday, were the people, the passengers, were they dead on Sunday? And was this whole week talking about this implosion? Talking about this submarine that contained five passengers? Was this all fake news? Did they die on Sunday and not on Thursday? In which all of this news, it baffles me, and I think the entire thing was a distraction operation. Do want to shift gears? Let's talk about Fang Fang. So Fang Fang is this Chinese spy that allegedly Eric Swalwell slept with. And I've got the story here when it comes to this this congressman. His name is Troy Nehls. And the words peeing on yum yum have now been entered into congressional record officially. And it's thanks to this story about the Russian pee tape, Texas congressman and a Democrat, Eric Swalwell, allegedly sleeping with this Chinese spy. So on Wednesday, special counsel John Durham testified about his report on the institutional biases at the FBI, and ultimately that led to the Russian collusion hoax. We know that was fake. We know that the Hillary campaign was behind paying these operatives to try to make it look like Donald Trump, who the feds claimed was compromised by Russia. Spoiler, he was not. It was all faked, fabricated, including this little part about the Russian hoax where he urinated on a Russian hooker, and there was a tape of it. So that's fake. That's completely outrageous. That was an outrageous aspect of the Russia hoax. And he's got this board behind him, this Texas representative. His name is Troy Nehls, at this congressional hearing. And on the poster board, it has these headlines that the mainstream media, they were reporting on at the time of the Russia collusion hoax. So here's a couple of them. Alleged P-tape incident wasn't the only Trump sex party. Quote, it's possible Trump was with hookers peeing on each other. Another headline, Trump's P-tape alibi is falling apart. Right. So he has this poster board with all of these headlines on them, and he talks about how outrageous this element of the Russia hoax was. Let's take a listen to the congressional testimony and hearing. Here we go.
Alleged P-tape incident was the only sex Trump party in Russia. You want to irritate the suburban mom at home? 5 months before an election, tell them the Republican leading candidate is peeing on prostitutes. We are aware of the member of this committee having an alleged affair with a Chinese spy, I refer to as Yum Yum, but this is a new low for anyone, and I would hope Mr. Swalwell would agree with me. Imagine if somebody would have said and taken it this step further, Mr. Swalwell was peeing on Yum Yum.
Time of the gentleman.
It's unacceptable. This has got to stop. The FBI needs to.
Time of the gentleman has expired.
I yield back.
The gentleman.
Mr. Chairman, I ask that the last comments be stricken. With respect to Mr. Swalwell.
Oh, that's funny.
My point is this: if you're going to say the president of the United States was in Russia peeing on prostitutes or vice versa, I'm just saying, could you imagine how that would affect any member of this committee? It would affect you. You're going to pick up a primary opponent, I'll guarantee that.
All right. Okay, so here we have this congressman going after Eric Swalwell's alleged affair with a Chinese spy. Her name is Christine Fang. I call her Fang Fang. People call her Fang Fang. Swalwell denies any inappropriate relationship with Fang Fang. Okay, so he's not denying the relationship, but he's denying that he had an inappropriate relationship with Fang Fang. Okay. He was still removed, folks. Like, there's enough information out there about this alleged affair to remove him from a House Intelligence Committee. Speaker McCarthy, he did this. And look, sleeping with the Chinese spy, I think that's the very textbook definition of being compromised. I don't know about y'all, but so peeing on Yum Yum. Yeah, that's in congressional record right now. I could imagine the stenographer who's writing up the transcripts right now. She's like writing up the records, and then all of a sudden he says peeing on Yum Yum, and she looks up for a minute and she's like, All right, I guess I'm writing in. The Peeing on Yum Yum shirts have yet to be on sale by the RNC, but I don't know if they'd start selling it for Nels's re-election campaign. I might just purchase one. That's pretty funny stuff. 309-451-9299. You can text in. I do have to take a break, but when we come back, there's a story coming out of Boston that's truly disturbing. It's about a trans individual, and it was in Boston, and there were a lot of children, 4 children discovered living in squalor with 6 men. A trans man, a dead trans man was found in this Boston apartment. What was going on in this apartment is being underreported, and it's gonna shock you. It's gonna shock you. So I've got that story here coming up in just a little bit. Be sure to join the live stream. We're gonna continue our conversation there on YouTube and on Facebook and on Twitter. Good morning. If you're watching right now, smash the like button. Do it right now. I see you're watching, and I see that you haven't liked the video. Like that video right now. Throw into the comments. I have a quick question for you. What do you think about the town of Normal paying for a drag queen to come here and perform as part of the Make Music Normal event? I don't know how much they've paid. I don't know if he's being paid. I don't know if Normal had a hand in telling the drag queen to remove a satanic ritual performance from his Instagram page that he had posted a few months ago. His name is Rita Taro. Allegedly, he's from Bloomington Normal. He posts a lot of videos saying that he's from Chicago on his Instagram page. So, what do you think about the town of Normal paying for a drag show? I don't think that we elected Andy Byers, Kathleen Lorenz, Karen Smith, who are some other people, Mayor Chris Coos. I don't think that we elected these people to uh, one, even put on music festivals. I don't think that's really the role of government. Perhaps there's all kinds of normal nonprofit organizations who can put this stuff on and partner with the town of Normal on that. I think that this is being promoted by the town on taxpayer money. I'd have to see the price breakdowns and the numbers of how much money is coming out of the either general fund or some sort of cultural arts recreation fund. I'm sure that that exists, but we'll have to see the numbers on that. But I'm peeved off. Music festivals in general, but then add on top of that a drag show. Add on top of that a drag show that features a drag queen who has inappropriate content on his Instagram page that features satanic rituals. These people hate you. They have no interest in what your interests are. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. Sorry, pun intended. Yes, he stabs a white rabbit stuffed animal and sucks the blood from a stuffed animal in this video. I'm going to take a stab in the dark here and go on a limb and say, I don't think a lot of people find that entertaining. I don't think that's mainstream art. I think that's very niche. And to invite somebody who participates in that niche kind of performance to come and perform for an all ages music festival event that is paid for by taxpayer money, yeah. Right. I'm going to take a stab in the dark and say that most taxpayers don't want him here. His name is Rita Taro and friends performing, right? I don't want him here performing in front of children. I don't want him here performing in front of my community. And I pay to live in this community. I pay taxpayer money to live in this community. And you should be paying to fix the roads. You should be paying for critical infrastructure. You should be paying so that way I don't have rusty water in my rusty water on the west side of Normal. That's what you should be paying for. Like, love, share. I think people in Normal should remember this when these folks come up for re-election. People remember several years ago, Normal used to be a dry town. What happened? Not saying it should go back to being a dry town, but still. Wow. Yeah, it used to be a dry town. And actually, the South does it just right. They don't sell alcohol in all of these different stores. If you go down South, it really was a culture shock for me. I go down South to visit family sometimes, and it's a culture shock for me because you can't even get alcohol in a Walmart, like hard liquor. You can get like beer and wine, but you can't get hard liquor. They have liquor stores. You have to go to a liquor store. And That's great. A lot of these liquors, they have inappropriate, and I'm not saying that it's inappropriate for adults. I'm saying it's inappropriate for children. These are big box stores that you take your kids into, right? You take your kids to Walmart. And a lot of these labels on the alcohol bottles are inappropriate. There's, I can't think of them all right now, but there's like alcohol bottles that have slightly pornographic women on them, right? Where they've got the big tatas and they're popping out of their chest or something like that. And I don't know, it's called boobs, and then booze, boobs, right? I don't know. There's all kinds of different ones. And I get that you're marketing towards adults. It's an adult beverage. However, it's also in Walmart. And, a lot of this is gone out of the aisle and are displayed. If you go into a Walmart, you can see the displays of alcohol. In the traffic ways. So it's a progression of demoralizing communities, right? So Normal used to be a dry town. I'm not even saying that it should be a dry town, right? I like alcohol just as much as everybody else, but we should be similar to that of the South. I think a true conservative would say this, and this is a conservative program. What we should be doing is serving right, some sort of Bud Light or like a beer. We should be doing beer, wine in the Walmarts, and then going to the liquor store for our hard liquor, separating adult beverages and adult content away from children. We should do everything in our power to protect children from adult themes. There's a reason why that we do this, and psychologists, I'm not a psychologist, but psychologists agree, most sane psychologists, not the ones from What is a Woman, if you guys have seen that documentary. But sane psychologists will tell you that that is very damaging to children when you suggest them and subject them to adult themes and adult content. It ruins their development. I've got a nice news story here for us. It's a Friday. I like covering these stories. I was talking about these children of military parents, and they raised money with some art. So here's the story here on the Morning Buzz. The children growing up in military families all over England are raising money for charity by selling their own dandelion themed artwork. So this is kind of cool. I haven't really seen something like this. It's all dandelion themed, and I love dandelions. I'm like a big fan. Actually, okay, quick aside about dandelions. Dandelions, I have a dandelion tea every morning. Try to, and I make my own dandelion tea. I know I'm a weirdo hippie, fine. But the fact about dandelions is that they are similar to that of an aspirin. It keeps your heart healthy. I don't think it's a coincidence that Roundup is the same company that owns the medication Bear Aspirin. Bear Aspirin. A lot of people take a Bear Aspirin a day to try to keep their heart healthy. Very damaging. The same company who says that the weeds, they're weeds, and you need to get rid of the weeds, the dandelions, right, is the same company promoting something that would help your heart. But the dandelions help your heart. Do you see what's going on here? I love dandelions. Okay, that aside is over. Dandelion tea. So some kids, they're working on this dandelion themed artwork, and they're raising money for charity. The children launched their project as a way to celebrate Armed Forces Day in England, which is Saturday, June 24th. Tomorrow is Armed Forces Day. Now, they created dandelion paintings. They also have dandelion themed cakes. They're baking, they're doing paintings, because the dandelion is the official flower also of the military child. Did you know that? They've already raised hundreds of dollars, and all of that money is being donated to the Little Troopers charity, which supports other children in military families. So Claire is one of the leaders here who organized the charity campaign, and she was thrilled. The kids took charge and got the stuff done. So the kids said, you know what, let's do the dandelion paintings. Let's sell these paintings. Let's bake a cake that's dandelion themed. So, quote from Claire, she says, they have all worked so hard making posters, organizing and assembling and manning the sale. We sold out completely, and the children couldn't be more thrilled. And that's such a sweet story. It's for your Friday. It's the Morning Buzz. Now, I do have a story here that is shocking, and it's going to shock you. From the Post Millennial, let's talk about the Boston Fire Department finding children between the ages of 5 and 10. This is an underreported story, and I have to tell you about it because nobody's talking about it. There were children found by the Boston Fire Department, ages 5 to 10, and they were being hidden in a back room of an unsanitary apartment run by the city. It's Section 8 housing. It's run by the city. The government pays for it. And it was filled with alcohol, drugs, and sex toys. And they responded to a medical emergency at this apartment. According to the Boston Herald, the fire department was responding to a call at an apartment complex that a trans identified male had gone into cardiac arrest and needed medical attention. So there was a trans male in this apartment that they found for children between the ages of 5 and 10. They performed CPR on the trans identified male, but he died of what appeared to be an overdose. Like I said, drugs, sex toys, alcohol, all found in this apartment. The report noted that some of the men were dressed as women when the first responders arrived. This is a terrifying story, and it's being underreported. Why? Because these drag queens, were trafficking these children. That's what this is. They held these children in this apartment, and it was unsanitary. Approximately 6 adults who appeared to be males were seen in the apartment, and they found 4 children in the back room being hidden by an adult male from the first responders. Deeply, deeply disturbing. So, it's underreported. The Department of Children and Families confirmed that they had taken custody of the children. No arrests have been made in the case, according to the police. Now, I'm hoping that changes. I'm sure that will change. You can't just have children in your apartment, and you can't have them in an apartment that's unsanitary and full of drugs, alcohol. They've been obtained. I don't know if they abducted these children, kidnapped these children. The story is developing, and I'm sure we're going to see more details about it, but not in the mainstream. Because that's not how this works, folks. Because it deals with drag queens, and we're supposed to think that drag queens are, harmless, that they do harmless things. This is not your typical drag queen anymore. It used to be funny. It used to be a performance for adults, 21 old plus. But now what has happened are predators. They dress up as these characters, and they try to impress children, and they try to groom children with their performances, and it gets them to be enticed away from their parents. So this looks like a human trafficking type situation. Like I said, it's being underreported, and we don't know much. We don't know much about it. Shifting gears, do want to talk about Joe Biden and Hunter. So Hunter actually bragged to CCP oligarchs that his dad was involved in his payoffs, and he gets this sweetheart deal, folks. He gets this plea deal where he doesn't have to serve prison time. He gets a slap on the wrist, some misdemeanors. If you or I were to do that, we would probably be serving 10 years plus. He lied on a background check form to obtain a firearm. He publicly stated that he was smoking crack cocaine every 15 minutes. In the Wall Street Journal, they're coming out today, and they're reporting that the U.S. Navy detected that this Titan implosion happened on Sunday, not Thursday, and that the Biden administration held the news until yesterday, after all of this testimony about Hunter Biden and his crimes, and after the sweetheart deal went through, right? That entire thing, I think, is a distraction operation. The news surrounding the Titan implosion is all faked, and it was fabricated in order to distract us from what was going on with Hunter in this plea deal. So there's that. And then you think about what's going on with Donald Trump. He's charged over a paperwork dispute. Are you understanding the system yet? Do you realize what point of the movie you're in? 309-451-9299. I've got to take a break, but it is a Friday, and I will be back here after the break. We're going to get to our lovely sponsors. Be sure to support all of the local businesses you hear on Cities 92.9 Good morning. Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Gonna get to some of your comments. If a church group did a concert in town and it was paid from taxpayers in Bloomington Normal, there would definitely be an outcry. I love it. Yes, Mike. Could you imagine? So I actually really love what is it? Mercy Me is coming to the Grossinger Motors Arena, I think in October. Could you imagine if Mercy Me was one of the acts, if a Christian band was one of the acts in the Make Music Normal and it was paid for by Bloomington Normal taxpayers? People would be outraged. They'd be saying, where's the separation of church and state? Where's the separation of church and state? Also, I will vote for Joe Biden if you can find that in the Constitution for me. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say that. And anyway, so yeah, I like what you have to say here. There would definitely be outcry. They're paying for a drag queen to come here and do some sort of performance. I don't know how much. I've FOIA'd for payments purchases surrounding the Make Music Normal 2-day music festival that they're claiming is free. It's not free, right? Nothing is free. They're not charging people to attend to this, so they're not even making money as I mean, yeah, sure, you frequent the businesses if you're in uptown, right? And you'll frequent the uptown businesses up there. So I think it's good for the economy. But I don't think that we should be in the business of creating music festivals as government. I don't think that that's what we elected them to do, right? Government needs to stick to critical infrastructure, and here's what they need to set the pieces in place for us to be protected. It's all about public safety and it's all about critical infrastructure. Now, I'm not saying that you need to take the role like the Bloomington Police Department did, and they actively gave out safes to law abiding citizens, and those safes turned out to be bunk. But I am saying that they need to have the pieces in place in order to ensure that we have the ability to protect ourselves. And they need to protect us from the criminals. That's what my idea of the government should be at a local level. First, public safety. Second, critical infrastructure. You need to make sure your citizens are safe and have the ability to take care of themselves. Not notice how I said you can't take care of you don't have to. Your role as government is to not take care of citizens and give them free crap. The role of government is to ensure that people have the ability to. It's very hard to provide for yourself when you're constantly looking over your shoulder thinking that somebody's going to kill you or mug you. It's very hard to provide for yourself when your infrastructure is garbage. Okay, so these two things that's what local government is supposed to be. Not creating music festivals with taxpayer money. There's plenty of organizations out there who would be willing to partner maybe with the government and doing this. Now, I don't know. I guess this is a nonprofit organization, but it has loose ties. It's called Normal Live, and I guess that they're the sponsors of this specific drag show event. However, a Normal Live also has it's very hard and complex to understand because they create these like almost nonprofit NGOs, non-government organizations in order to do this stuff and to make it not look so bad. Right, right. So it's called Normal Live and they're the ones hosting the event at Normal Theater. But the Normal Live is also affiliated with the Cultural Arts and Recreation Department of the town of Normal. So I don't know if it's all the same people in that department, but if it's all the same people in that department, then technically it's government hosting it. But they do this stuff all of the time. They create NGOs or they partner with NGOs that are clearly partisan, and then they try to pass it off as if it's cool. Hey, you know, um, we're an NGO is doing it, not the government. But yeah, the NGO is like in your pocket and like they also like go as far as to include the town name in their non-government organization. So I don't know. I don't know how it all works. I'd like to see the price breakdown of this, and I hope to get that. They are certainly normalizing deviant behavior. Yes, they're normalizing deviant behavior. The fact that they would invite somebody, I mean, did you not do a social media vetting? And if you did do a social media vetting of Rita Taro, um, then clearly you're cool with somebody who possibly could bring that kind of performance to normal. How are we supposed to know the itinerary of what his performance is going to be like? I'm sure he shared it with the town of Normal. I hope he shared it with the town of Normal beforehand. But yeah, here we go. Mm. Well, this is interesting. Chad Burke, he says that he interviewed Pam Reese, the city manager, yesterday, asking her if a Christian rock band performed at the taxpayers' expense would be allowed. They are allowing a drag performance to be performed with a drag queen who has before participated in satanic rituals like a mimicking satanic rituals, the slaughtering of white rabbits, which is a known satanic ritual. On his Instagram page, he documented it. And Chad Burke, he says that he talked to Pam Reese asking her if, hey, would this be allowed if we allowed a Christian rock band to perform at Make Music Normal? And according to Pam Reese, quote, we had a church service in the theater and a band, if she remembered correctly. I'd have to do some digging on that, find out what church service it was, and if it okay. So if it was if it was Hope Church, come on now, like is it a church service if it's a progressive church? And was it a drag queen who was giving the pastoral message? Was it a pastor who also was doubling in drag? Because that doesn't count. Okay. So it depends on the church, right? I don't know. I'd have to do some digging into this. I'm just going off of Chad Burke's documented interview here. And he goes, I asked her if she viewed any of Rita Taro's performances. Quote, I have not viewed any of Rita's Instagram videos, but she performs at it's a man. Come on now. I love how she says this. She performs at the farmer market. Okay. All right. Uh, Interesting. Very interesting. I can't wait to go. I hope some of you go. And like I said, if you go, take some pictures. If there's children in the audience, that's one thing that I want to make sure is not going on, is that at 10 o'clock at night, there's no children being allowed into the Normal Theater, where a known rated R type performer, and he clearly posts a lot of this, um, on his Instagram, right? Some rated R content. So we'll see what happens tonight. All right, I have got to go. You guys have a great rest of your Friday. Remember, today is National Bring Your Dog to Work Day. So maybe call up your boss and say, hey, can I bring my dog to work? Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye. Love you. Okay, so I'm going to continue the live stream here, Chad. You got some interesting stuff going on. If you guys are watching, be sure to like, love, comment, share. According to Pam, no one has to open the door and come inside. Pam, we will see if the community will accept the performance in about 30 hours. So I don't know what that means, Chad. If you're still watching, can you clarify? Does this mean that no one has to open the door and come inside? So are they going to be checking for identification? Is this open to the public? Because the way the town has promoted this is that this is open to all ages. Yes. So they are going to be checking ID. Sorry. Let me ask this question and throw it in right now. Are they going to be checking ID? Do you know, Chad? Yes, no age restriction. So there is no age restriction. They're not checking for ID. This is not a 21 plus event. This is all ages event. So then she says, we will see if the community will accept the performance in about 30 hours. Yeah, so we'll see. Awesome. Well, Chad, thanks so much for clarifying that. I'd love to chat with you more. Be sure to email me. I'd love to see those emails, and I will publish those today. along with my videos that I take at the drag performance. So cat@gpmbloomington.com. That's the email. Go ahead, send me an email, Chad, about that event. You guys have a great rest of your Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in. Bye-bye. Love you.